Imagine getting dumped right before your honeymoon because you are broke, only to wake up beside Celeste Whitmore, the massive billionaire boss of the company your worst bully works for. That sounds like a total lie, and trust me, I really wish it was. When I opened my eyes, my head felt heavy as lead. My mouth tasted like terrible cheap champagne, and some random gorgeous stranger was sleeping right next to me. My actual girlfriend Chloe should have been there, the girl I saved up 2 years for. Instead, a complete stranger slept beside me in a black dress, one expensive heel dangling off her foot. Her dark hair was messy, and smudged makeup stained her cheeks like she had cried herself to sleep. For 3 seconds, I just froze. Then my brain finally kicked in and started screaming. I bolted upright. Rose petals covered the sheets, and romantic towel swans mocked me from the pillows. Outside, the ocean looked beautiful and romantic, like nature itself was laughing at my pain. I quickly checked my clothes. Shirt was on, pants were on, and my belt was still buckled. Good. At least I was not facing a major police investigation today. Suddenly, the woman stirred. I froze as her eyes slowly opened. For 1 second, we just stared, caught in the absolute worst nightmare imaginable. Then she grabbed a heavy bottle from the table and aimed it straight at my face. "Who the hell are you?" she snapped. Her voice was ice cold and very wealthy. Trust me, money has a sound. And she sounded like she owned the entire island. I threw my hands up. I am just the idiot who paid for this room. She glanced around at the romantic setup. "No," I said. "I just love waking up in random honeymoon suites because my favorite hobbies are depression and getting sued." She tried to stand, stumbled, and grabbed the table. A massive hangover. Perfect. Misery loves company. Her handbag slipped, dropping a sleek black card holder right by my foot. One card slid out. It read Celeste Whitmore, founder and chief executive officer of Whitmore Global. My heart dropped right through the floor. Whitmore Global was the exact company my bully, Mason, bragged about yesterday while standing with my cheating girlfriend. I looked from the card to her. "You are Celeste Whitmore." She snatched it back. "Congratulations on reading," she said. I shook my head, meaning she was that famous billionaire. Her eyes narrowed immediately. She still held the bottle up. How comforting. Nothing screams innocence like a billionaire clutching heavy glass like a weapon. I pointed at the plastic keycard. "My name is Ethan Carter, and this is room 1208. You broke in here." She stared at my key, then at the door. Her anger cracked, revealing pure panic underneath. "No," she whispered. "That sounded very bad. My villa is 1208 in the Royal Wing," she said. I checked my key. Honeymoon Wing, room 1208. Both rooms had the same number in a maze of a resort. Celeste finally lowered her bottle. She admitted she was drunk. Perfect. Now we have two total idiots and one overpriced resort bed. Her jaw tightened. She had a terrible night. I did too, but mine came with cheap alcohol. Then she revealed she caught her boyfriend cheating. That kept me quiet for 2 seconds. But my stupid mouth asked if her brilliant solution was to walk into my room instead. The door was slightly propped open by my cheap suitcase strap. Celeste followed my gaze and realized what happened. The silence in that room became very awkward. Two cheated partners, two hangovers, and one door that completely failed us. Let us take a step back 12 hours earlier. I stood outside with 2 tickets, 2 bags, and a velvet ring box burning in my pocket. 5 nights in Hawaii, a beachside proposal, couples massage, and sunset dinners. We were not even married yet. I booked the couples package to propose immediately on night 1. I thought it was sweet. The hotel got paid, and the universe got a joke. Chloe showed up late, wearing dark sunglasses under a cloudy sky, staring at her phone like a better offer was coming. She had 0 bags. My stomach sank before she even opened her mouth. "Ethan," she whispered. I hated that soft voice. It is the tone people use to stab you nicely. She told me I was a good person, which is basically the death sentence for any relationship. I asked where her bag was, and she simply said she was not going. I waited for some family emergency, but she gave me nothing. She could not pretend love was enough anymore. That brutal line cut right through me. 2 years of saving every dollar, 3 years of dating, endless double shifts. She packed all my hard work into one sentence and threw it right back at me. Then, Mason Reed stepped out of the black car behind her. My high school bully? The guy who shoved my things in the trash and called me cheap because my shoes were secondhand. Now, he was standing right in front of me. He wore an expensive watch and a smug smile that practically begged to be hit. Chloe stepped closer to him. The universe really hated me today. Mason laughed at my bags, mocking my honeymoon plans. Chloe gave him a weak look, pretending she cared about my feeling. She did not stop him. Mason wrapped his arm around her waist, boasting she deserved someone better. He said no offense, which always means the opposite. I stared at Chloe, asking how long this had been going on. She begged me not to make a scene. That was my answer. Mason smirked, pointing out I saved 2 years for one trip. Mason bragged his bonus could pay for this twice. Chloe added that he works at Whitmore Global now, like she was explaining facts. He flashed his shiny corporate badge. He said he was in hospitality, claiming a guy like me probably would not understand. I stared at Chloe, my heart dropping. So, that is it. He gets a better job, and I am dumped. She claims I am trying to make her feel guilty, but I am just seeking answers. I let out a dry laugh. Nothing was funny. She slept with my bully, yet somehow I am the bad guy. Her sweet face cracked. She spat that I always do this, making everything about my sacrifices. Is it really that exhausting? I never asked you to starve for a trip, she said. Cruel, but true. Nobody forced me. I was just stupidly in love. Mason took a step forward. He sneered that she needs a real man who can provide, not some loser treating one Hawaii trip like a lifetime achievement. Chloe stared down. She did not stop him. Her silence cut deeper than his insults. Were you really going to tell me before my proposal? Her eyes darted straight to my coat pocket. She knew. Mason saw it too and started laughing, asking if there was actually a ring. I spun around to hide my broken face. Behind me, Chloe muttered an apology. She was not sorry, she just hated the drama. She hated seeing me look human while she upgraded. The flight, the hotel, the honeymoon package, all non-refundable. My pride apparently had a strict zero-return policy too, so I took the trip by myself. At the gate, the desk agent asked if my wife was coming later. I told her emotionally no. She did not laugh. Fair enough. Arriving at the hotel, the employees applauded our package. A bellhop handed me a coconut containing 2 straws, offering congratulations and asking where Mrs. Carter was. I stared at that extra straw. Running late. Technically true. Her loyalty had been running months behind anyway, but the suite was worse. Rose petals littered the sheets, decorative swans were kissing, and cold champagne sat ready. On the pillow, a chocolate sign read "Forever starts here." I ate that sign immediately. It tasted incredibly rich and highly judgmental. So I dragged myself to the shore, sat near couples posing for pictures, and chugged champagne like a miserable divorced relative at a party. After midnight, Chloe's social update popped up. There she was with Mason, staying at the exact same resort chain. Can you believe the absolute nerve of this guy? He posted from a higher floor, writing that real men upgrade the view. He did not choose this island by accident. Chloe had literally sent him my travel details while she was still lying about her feelings. He copied my entire vacation just to upstage me. I stared until my vision went blurry. I laughed out loud, because the only other option was throwing my phone into the Pacific, and I still owed money on it. Stumbling back late, my keycard failed twice before working. Lugging my suitcase inside, the strap snagged. I kicked it once. Screw it, I muttered before giving up completely. I collapsed right onto the mattress, never checking the door. My own lazy contribution to the upcoming disaster. Come morning, Celeste was standing inside my room holding that card. My ruined life lay scattered everywhere, alongside an empty bottle that could easily knock my teeth out. Suddenly, her phone began vibrating. A single name flashed repeatedly on her screen. Natalie. Celeste cursed quietly. She looked exhausted yet completely in control, like she was ready for war. Then, she pulled herself together. She warned me that nobody could know she was here. I told her that was fantastic news because I wanted to keep it secret too. My reputation was already dead. It did not need funeral flowers. She insisted she was serious, and I agreed. A broke guy waking up beside a billionaire on a solo honeymoon sounds completely unbelievable. Her eyes judged me like a cheap item she could easily return or have thrown out by guards. Peeking through the glass, she saw the empty hallway. Grabbing the handle, she swung it open and froze. 3 women walked around the corner at the worst possible moment. The center woman wore a light blue dress, pearls, and a fake smile that never reached her cold eyes. Celeste completely froze. The intruder stared at Celeste's messy outfit, her bare feet, and then looked right at me on the petal-covered bed. Her grin stretched wide as she asked Celeste what was going on. Celeste gripped the handle until her knuckles turned white. Right then, I realized 2 facts. This newcomer knew who Celeste was, and Celeste was about to absolutely explode like dynamite. The woman raised her phone. Celeste warned Bianca to stop, so she had a name. From Celeste's face, Bianca meant real trouble. And just like that, with one tiny click, my private disaster became public gossip. You can already tell this is going to end horribly for my reputation. Celeste went incredibly pale. Bianca Ashford calmly lowered her device as if she had just taken a harmless picture rather than holding a weapon to our reputations. I stood awkwardly behind Celeste, wearing my messy shirt, completely hungover with scattered red petals, framing the saddest romantic crime scene you have ever witnessed. Bianca's companions peeked over her shoulders, one gasping while the other smirked. That smug look told me everything I needed to know about wealthy snobs. Celeste stepped out, pulling the door partially closed behind her. She quietly demanded that she delete it. Her voice was so chillingly calm, it would make anyone panic. Bianca blinked. Delete what? The photo? Oh, that. She glanced at her screen. It was just a picture. You looked so shocked. She laughed. Rich girls definitely have a highly twisted sense of what is funny. My entire life had been a joke for 12 hours, yet nobody laughed. Celeste stepped closer and whispered Bianca's name. No threats or shouting, just a cold warning. Bianca peered past her at me, scanning the messy bed and the scattered petals. She claimed she was not judging, which obviously meant she totally was. She lifted her device once more, just to flaunt her leverage. She patronizingly declared that she was actually quite impressed by the whole setup. She mocked that she did not know Celeste had a type. Celeste's jaw clenched. I could tell she desperately wanted to throw that phone into the sea. Honestly, I fully backed violence as a viable option. But then I noticed Bianca's companion recording secretly near her purse. Celeste saw the trap too, and smartly backed off. Any physical confrontation would instantly spin into a massive scandal about a billionaire CEO assaulting an innocent woman. Even a simple guy like me understood that danger. Bianca calmly slipped the phone away and bid us a very pleasant morning before turning around. She strolled off with her companions, moving slow and relaxed, fully enjoying the power to destroy lives. Celeste watched silently until they vanished from sight. She stepped back into my room and slammed the door shut. While she paced the floor like a caged predator, I honestly forgot how to breathe. Bianca got exactly what she wanted. Before Celeste's phone even started buzzing again, that photo had already gone completely viral. She finally picked up on the fourth ring. The woman on the other end screamed so loud I heard her from the bed. Where the hell are you? Celeste closed her eyes, muttering Natalie. But she was cut off immediately. You missed 3 calls with New York, 2 board office alerts, and now I have a photo of you leaving a honeymoon suite in yesterday's crumpled dress. The room shrank, literally. Celeste quietly asked how many people had seen it, and Natalie just let out a cold, humorless laugh. Bianca leaked it. Immediately, it hit 2 private family chats, the investor wives, and a trashy gossip page pretending to cover charity galas. I raised my hand, totally uninvited. What exactly is an investor wife chat? Celeste glared at me like I had just interrupted open-heart surgery. Natalie heard me, too. Heavy silence fell, and then Natalie demanded to know who that was. Celeste covered the speaker, telling me to shut up. I argued I was just curious, but she told me to be curious silently, before telling Natalie I was nobody. Honestly, you can feel that sting right through the screen. A billionaire calling me nobody should have rolled right off, but I was already at rock bottom. But the words still cut deep. Chloe basically said the same thing yesterday, and Mason implied it with a nicer watch. Natalie started talking again. If he is nobody, that is actually worse. Celeste's eyes darted to me. She told Natalie to explain, who warned that a stranger makes Celeste look recklessly drunk. Staff will whisper about abuse of power, tourists will talk, and a paid companion angle kills us by noon. I blinked, repeating, paid companion? I shut up. Instantly. Celeste shot me a lethal warning glare, and Natalie kept explaining that Bianca had set the trap perfectly. Celeste walked to the window. Outside, the ocean looked completely indifferent. What are they saying? She demanded. Celeste's voice went ice cold. Read it. Natalie sighed, listing off rumors of a secret lover, canceled business meetings, and questions about other guests in the room. Bianca is letting them fill in the blanks. Others, I repeated, but they ignored me. Celeste clenched her fists, luckily having set down the heavy bottle. So they are just inventing things, I asked. Celeste shrugged, welcoming me to the world of wealthy people with too much time. Fair enough. Broke people gossip too, but at least we have to go back to work. Celeste lowered her phone, staring at the floor. I saw the real panic hiding beneath her rage. That photo painted her as completely reckless. A missing chief executive, drinking heavily, stumbling out of a bridal suite with some completely random guy. And that random guy was me. Awesome. I spent my whole life trying to stay invisible, and the second I get noticed, I am a stain on a massive reputation. Natalie asked if I was still there. I pointed at the receiver, tell her he wants to shower, eat junk food, and cry in private. Celeste covered the speaker, telling me I was not leaving. I argued this was my room, but she snapped back that I was in the photo. If you walk out looking like a mess, Bianca gets another headline. I looked down at my wrinkled, misbuttoned shirt, smelling strongly of cheap alcohol and deep regret. Annoying, I muttered. She agreed. Natalie said never call me a stranger. Celeste looked at me, and I instantly hated where this was going. Do not look at me when she says that. Natalie argued a stranger looks reckless, a wrong room looks drunk, and silence looks guilty. They needed a controlled narrative. Celeste's expression shifted. Her mind was working fast, cold, and extremely dangerous. I backed up, saying no. She just stared at me. I haven't said anything yet, she said. I told her she did not have to. Her face was doing math. She hung up without saying goodbye. Classic rich person move. She walked to the mirror, rebuilding herself with terrifying speed. Smudged makeup disappeared, the missing heel was recovered, and her messy hair was quickly styled back into place. The billionaire CEO was fully restored in under 60 seconds. If I tried that, I would look like I lost a fight with a ceiling fan. Get dressed properly, she ordered. I argued I was dressed, but she said I looked like I lost to a laundry basket. We are leaving, she snapped. Together? Leaving separately looks worse, she replied. I argued that together made it look like the rumor grew legs. Bianca gave them heels, she snapped. Celeste threw a plush resort robe at me, telling me to wear it. Why am I getting styled? Because your shirt is actively destroying national financial confidence, she snapped. Looking down, I realized a button was in the wrong hole. Fine, maybe my shirt was actually committing public crimes. We stepped into the hallway and boarded the elevator. Inside, two wealthy women in linen outfits stared at their phones, then slowly looked from Celeste to me. One lowered her sunglasses indoors just to get a better look. The 20-second ride felt like being buried alive in ridiculously expensive perfume. When the doors slid open, the lobby vibe was completely different. Yesterday, staff cheered for my fake wedding. Now, they stole quick, judgmental glances and looked away fast. Phones were out all around the lounge. A crowd by the flowers pretended to ignore us while staring intently. Celeste kept moving, but then Bianca called out her name. Celeste. Every head turned. And get this, rich people pretend they hate drama, but they flock to a scandal like pigeons to breadcrumbs. Bianca stood by the grand staircase with her entourage, wearing a pale blue dress and pearl earrings. Her venomous smile was freshly sharpened for the occasion. Her eyes drifted to my robe. Oh, she purred, still together? Whispers erupted. Phones immediately went up. Celeste kept her tone perfectly even, telling Bianca to move. Bianca gasped dramatically, claiming she was just worried after Celeste vanished and canceled everything. She let the sentence trail off. That was her trick, she did not need to say the dirty details aloud. The crowd happily did it for her. Bianca looked at me, asking who I was. I started to speak, but Celeste cut in first, announcing that I was with her. The lobby went silent. Bianca's smile twitched, asking how. Celeste hesitated a second, and Bianca turned so the entire room could hear. Everyone is pretty confused, and a single photo is turning into an incredibly ugly story. Fake concern, perfect voice, poison wrapped in silk. Celeste steps forward, telling them to stop feeding the rumors. I didn't feed anything. I just took a picture, Bianca's friend mutters. Classic coward math. Light the match, then blame the fire when it burns. The entire lobby wants a single answer. Not my name, but my role. Who was I to Celeste Whitmore? She grabs my wrist, strategic, but warm. Everyone notices, especially Bianca. Oh, she says, so he's important? Celeste snaps right back that I'm none of her business. Bianca just laughs softly. Darling, when you leave a honeymoon suite with some guy in front of the whole resort, business gets pretty flexible. Nearby, a man raises his phone to capture the drama. Someone whispers, asking if I am the mystery man. Yesterday I wanted to disappear. Today, I want to toss every single phone into the lobby fountain. But I have zero cash, zero power, and absolutely no clue what is happening. All I have is a billionaire clutching my wrist, deciding whether to use me as a shield or a live grenade. Natalie's warning rings in my head, do not say stranger. Bianca steps closer, pressuring Celeste to tell everyone who I am. The lobby holds its breath. And then, check this out. Her hand slides to my fingers and my brain completely stops. She looks at me like a woman choosing the least terrible weapon in the room. She turns to face Bianca, the cameras, the whispering staff, and every single wealthy guest waiting to watch a public execution. Someone asks who the man in her room was. Celeste's fingers lock tightly around mine. I realize, way too late, that my ruined honeymoon is about to become her official cover story. He is my fiancé, she says. For one beautiful, silent second, my brain absolutely refuses to process those words. Then it hits me, panic sets in, and my soul tries to leave my body. Yesterday, Chloe dumped me for being broke and definitely not husband material. But today, Celeste Whitmore just promoted me to her fiancé in front of 50 rich witnesses without checking if my legs could even stand. Total silence. Bianca's smile freezes first, which feels amazing for half a second, before every camera tilts our way. Staff stop pretending to polish their vases. Guests stop pretending to read menus. One old guy lowers his coffee cup so slowly I can literally see the steam rising between our faces. They are all staring right at me. The mystery man, the broke guy in a borrowed robe, the stain on a billionaire's name, now apparently her future husband. Perfect. My fake honeymoon finally has an actual bride. But Bianca recovers fast. Snakes like her do not panic when a lie changes its shape. They just smile wider and search for a weak seam. Your fiancé? She asks. Celeste doesn't even blink, as she says yes. Our hands remain locked. On the outside, she looks calm enough to sign a billion-dollar merger during a literal hurricane, but her grip is incredibly tight. Emergency brake tight. Celeste isn't calm at all, she's just masterclass at making absolute terror look elegant. Bianca tilts her head, calling it strange since she knows everyone in Celeste's circle but has never heard of this fiancé. The crowd starts murmuring. Whispers of a secret fiancé fill the room. My throat goes completely dry. I almost blurt out my name, but common sense tackles me just in time. Bianca takes a step closer, asking since when. Celeste tells her it is private. Bianca sneers, wondering if it is so private that her own friends are clueless. My private life is not some gossip newsletter, Celeste fires back. A few phones actually lower. It is a tiny victory, but I will take it. Then, Bianca targets me. She asks if I am comfortable being kept hidden, aiming the question like a silver knife. If I look pathetic here, Celeste looks like she made me up. If I act angry, I'll look like some paid secret getting tired of the gig. Too confident, and we look fake. I squeeze Celeste's hand once to warn her I am stepping in. Her eyes shoot me a warning not to make things worse. Relatable. I look at Bianca and say that after this chaotic morning, I completely understand why she kept me hidden. The entire room shifts by a degree. A staff member stops staring at me like trash and glares at Bianca instead. Celeste's grip actually loosens by a fraction. My first real win all morning. Bianca's smile widens, calling me loyal while pointing out that I am standing in a luxury lobby wearing nothing but a bathrobe. A few guests snicker, and the robe suddenly feels 10 times heavier. Celeste is about to defend me, and I probably should let her. My dignity has already taken enough hits today. I look at the robe, then right at Bianca. Yeah, rough morning, I say. Heard someone was creeping around taking pictures before people could even get dressed properly. Now check this out. The snickering dies instantly, and Bianca's little friend gets very interested in studying the floor tiles. Another small victory. I like those. Bianca's eyes turn sharp, warning me that people might misunderstand my tone. Well, people already misunderstood a simple open doorway. Maybe tone is a bit too advanced for this crowd anyway. Celeste presses her thumb into my palm as a painful warning. I shut up. Bianca refocuses on Celeste. You always were dramatic, but hiding a fiancé is strategy, not privacy, Bianca sneers. Celeste fires back that the difference simply depends on who is trying to invade it. And yet here we are, Bianca says. Yes, because you took a creepy photo through a doorway and tried to manufacture a scandal, Celeste hits back cleanly. Bianca's friend nervously steps back. The front desk staff exchange a look. The crowd hasn't completely flipped, but they've stopped buying Bianca's garbage story. Bianca feels the shift and softens her voice, claiming she was just worried because Celeste vanished yesterday and missed several critical phone calls. She claims people care. A pretty sentence, but complete garbage. Bianca doesn't care about Celeste at all. She only cares about holding the knife first and calling it worry. Celeste's fingers tighten around mine again. This time, I know she hit a very real, painful wound. The missed calls, the board, Langford, and the leadership crisis Natalie warned about. I lean in close, whispering that she is absolutely crushing my fingers. She tells me to stop shaking, but I whisper back that I'm not. She murmurs that one of us is, and that shuts me up. The whole lobby suddenly blurs. No, it is not romance, calm down. At the end of the day, I am still just a broke guy in a borrowed hotel robe, and she is still a billionaire who just lied me into her life. But under all that thick ice, Celeste is scared enough to squeeze my hand and blame her own shaking on me. Unfairly human of her. Honestly, kind of cute. Before Bianca can press any further, Natalie bursts through the lobby doors like a crisis wrapped in sharp black heels, clutching a tablet and a ringing phone. Behind her, the resort manager rushed in with 2 security guards. Natalie stepped right up, instantly locking her sharp eyes on the scene. Bianca, recording phones, my cheap robe, Celeste squeezing my hand. Natalie's gaze froze on our fingers. She asked if Celeste just said fiancé, and Celeste did not blink. Yes, she replied. For a second, I thought Natalie might quit right there. Natalie flashed a deadly professional smile to the lobby. Congratulations are not a spectator sport, she announced coldly. She ordered the manager to make guests put their phones away, reminding them that photo was taken in a private, restricted wing. Bianca's smirk faded. Natalie fired back that while this lobby is public, the restricted hallway where the picture was taken was definitely not. Security stepped in. Some people put their phones down, while others quickly hid them, like one lady suddenly checking her weather app with intense focus. Bianca glanced between Natalie, Celeste, and me. Well, she sneered, I guess the world will find out who he is soon enough. My stomach completely dropped. She did not know my name. That was the problem. Online, I was just a blurry shadow in a robe. No more mystery. Natalie stepped in, wishing Bianca a nice breakfast as she glared at me. Congratulations, mystery fiancé, she whispered. Quiet words. Brutal public slap. Then she walked off, her friends laughing behind her. Natalie waited until Bianca cleared the lobby, then hissed through her teeth, private room. Now, we quickly hurried past 100 staring eyes. We were shoved into a private, high-end office lounge. And get ready, because the raw tension in this room is about to boil over. Natalie locked the door behind us, the heavy click sounding like a prison sentence. She whirled on Celeste, demanding why she announced an engagement. Celeste defended herself, but Natalie snapped back. I told you not to say stranger, not to drop a massive wedding bomb. I cut in, saying as the bomb, a warning would have been nice. Natalie glared, telling me I was pretty loud for a guy whose face is about to be hunted by Hawaii's bored millionaires. That completely shut me up for a few seconds. Progress, right? Natalie tapped her tablet screen. Bianca's leaked photo popped up alongside a wave of toxic comments, everyone asking who the mystery fiancé is, though my face was still blurry. Celeste's shoulder and a dark doorway shadow saved my identity, but a faceless rumor just gives bored rich people room to make up much worse lies. Natalie crossed her arms. The scandal evolved, she said. I asked if that was good. No, Celeste muttered. Natalie muttered that it was barely better. I leaned back, realizing I went from random hookup to secret fiancé. Celeste turned around. I asked if the secret fiancé gets a vote. Celeste instantly said no, but Natalie said yes, staring back at Celeste without blinking. Natalie warned that I have a mouth and no contract, so if I tell the lobby the truth, they are finished. I joked that I liked her recognizing my humanity. Celeste glared, fully aware of my humanity. But 5 minutes ago, I was upgraded from nobody to fiancé without a single warning. Quite a promotion for a guy in hotel slippers. Natalie looked down, pointing out my footwear, so I told her they were doing their best. Celeste's mouth twitched. Barely visible, but I caught it. Natalie tapped the screen, showing Bianca's next dirty moves. If he is your fiancé, why has nobody ever heard of him? And if you just invented him, then the original scandal gets 10 times worse. Celeste crossed her arms. Can you feel the panic setting in? Natalie warned that if they look like strangers, the lie collapses, and overacting will ruin it even faster. If Celeste goes alone tonight, Bianca wins. Tonight, I stammered. There was always another knife coming. Natalie swiped her screen. Private hospitality dinner, Ocean Terrace, 7:30. I spotted one name, Langford, the man literally waiting for Celeste to make a public mistake. I asked why a board member is at a resort dinner. Natalie looked shocked, as if she expected me to lick the screen instead of reading. He is not on the board, she clarified. But he is a major investor. He is here for a summit, and Bianca knows it. Okay, too much rich talk, but I got the point, he matters and Bianca wants him watching. I turned to Celeste, refusing to play fake fiancé at some wealthy dinner. She insisted. No, I shot back, sharper than expected. Apparently, I finally found my spine under this oversized bathrobe. I reminded her that I did not ask for Bianca, your board drama, or to be called your fiancé in front of snobs who tip with stock options. My life was already on fire before she walked in. Celeste's face hardened as she claimed she was trying to stop both of us from burning. A fake engagement? A controlled story? I pointed out her so-called control just got us humiliated in public. That actually made her pause. She admitted I was right, saying she forgot to be angry. I asked her to repeat that slower so I could savor it, but she warned me not to push my luck. My bad luck is the only reason I am in this room. Natalie pinched her nose, saying they did not have time for this before Celeste stepped forward. Celeste told me she cannot force me, which was comforting, but if I walk away, Bianca will hunt me down. Natalie picked up the threat. Your booking, full name, flight, family, and job. Bianca will leak everything, solely to drag Celeste's reputation through the mud. I stared at the blurry photo. A mystery man, waiting to be found. I absolutely hated that Natalie was right. Worst of all, my best play was acting engaged to a woman who literally threatened me with a heavy bottle an hour ago. Romance is pretty dead. I asked what they wanted from me, and Celeste did not give a fast answer this time. Just one dinner tonight, she said, stand by me, and keep your mouth shut. No joking, unless it helps. That felt incredibly targeted, but Natalie ignored my glare, saying they would give me a clean backstory. We supposedly met months ago, keeping things quiet for work. We traveled separately, but my hotel mix-up gave Bianca the perfect weapon to use. My hand gripped the chair. No way. Both of them turned to stare at me. I told them straight up, do not turn that room into some cute backstory detail. It was real, painful, embarrassing, but real. I bought that ring for Chloe. I booked that room because I actually believed I was proposing to someone who loved me. I did not want rich people damage control, turning my heartbreak into some cheap prop. The room fell dead silent. There was no joke in my voice. Celeste just stared at me for a long moment. She told me she would not use that part without my permission. Simple, quiet, almost gentle. I did not know how to handle gentle from her, so naturally I looked away like a total idiot. Good. Natalie cleared her throat, saying they would adjust. Private relationship, no proposal details unless forced. Celeste sat right across from me, choosing not to take the head of the table. That tiny choice shifted the room more than it probably should have. Then she offered to compensate me for my time, the risk, and any damage this whole mess might cause. My shoulders tightened. Money. The thing Chloe said I lacked, and Mason waved around like a personality. I told her flat out I am broke. And I'm not rented. Celeste went quiet. Then she admitted that it came out wrong. I stared at her. If she apologized next, I was checking the ceiling for hidden cameras. She said she meant protection, expenses, privacy, and legal help if Bianca targets me. Slightly less insulting, sure. But it still felt pretty uncomfortable. Natalie pointed out that I should have representation if this goes past tonight. A lawyer? Right. I can barely represent myself standing in a hotel breakfast line. Celeste offered to get me one. See? I told her. That sounds like buying me again. She insisted it was not. I replied that her face says it usually is, making her mouth tighten. Then, very quietly, she murmured that her face had experienced a difficult morning. Natalie stared down at her tablet incredibly hard. A private side of her, dry, tired, and honestly, almost cute. Celeste immediately looked annoyed that she had said it. Dangerous discovery. Natalie saved her from being human too long, saying they needed rules. I replied that I had rules too. That actually surprised them both. Good. I was tired of being treated like some object. First, I said, you do not use my breakup as a cute backstory. Celeste agreed. Second, no one says I was paid to be here. Natalie dryly pointed out my first explanation included the phrase paid companion before she even had breakfast. Fair. Third, if someone asks something I cannot answer, I can say we keep it private. Celeste agreed, saying that was good. Fourth, you do not talk to me like piece of furniture in public. That actually made Celeste pause. Good. It should. Finally, she nodded and agreed. Then Celeste lifted her chin, laying down her own rules. You do not contradict me in public unless I am actively about to hurt us both. Do not improvise personal details, and do not call Bianca Barbie again where she can hear you. That rule felt personal. Bianca would enjoy that nickname way too much. Annoying? Correct, Celeste said, ordering me to stay near her tonight right beside her. Beside me. That single word felt pretty strange sitting in my chest. Chloe had pushed me behind her new future. Mason had basically shoved me right under it. Now Celeste Whitmore was ordering me to her side like standard logistics. It should not have meant a thing, but it did anyway. Natalie's phone buzzed. Bianca had just reposted text only over a pale blue background. Her post said some engagements are so private even the groom looks surprised. Fast comments. Mystery fiancé, cover story, someone ask him his last name. Celeste stood up. Natalie warned her not to respond online. I told them I was not going to, but Natalie teased Celeste, saying she looked ready to buy the whole platform. Celeste paused. I stared at her. Oh my God, you actually considered it. For half a second, she admitted. That is not normal. She said she was fully aware. Another tiny crack in the ice. Funny, irritated, and human. Natalie's phone buzzed again. This time she did not read the message immediately. That is never a good sign. Natalie announced that Langford's office saw Bianca's repost. Celeste's face went completely still. The dinner had just changed. How? Natalie silently turned the phone around to show us. Langford requested Miss Whitmore attend tonight's Ocean Terrace dinner with her fiancé. No substitutions. Right below that, Bianca Ashford had already confirmed her attendance. The trap had a reservation. Tonight, Langford wanted to see the mysterious fiancé. Bianca wanted to test him. And that fiancé was me, a broke guy in hotel slippers who learned about investor wife chats under an hour ago. Natalie looked at me, saying if I wanted out, this was the last clean moment. It was a complete lie. Nothing clean remained. But I still understood. If I walked away, I might stay blurry. The mystery man could vanish. Celeste would take the hit. Bianca would laugh. Langford would make his move. I would just pack the ring I never used and fly home, pretending this billionaire disaster was only a hangover with slightly better lighting. Smart choice. Probably. Then I remembered Bianca mocking us in the lobby, Chloe's voice yesterday, claiming pretend love is enough, and Mason laughing when he first saw my ring. I was tired of being the guy people explained away. The poor boyfriend, the random tourist, the literal nobody. Honestly, maybe I was still a loser. Fine. But even losers get to decide when to stop crawling. I took a deep breath. One dinner. Celeste's shoulders lowered by the absolute smallest amount. Most people would have missed it. I did not. One dinner, she repeated. Natalie nodded, already typing away. Good. We need some clothes, a solid cover story, and enough raw discipline to survive rich people with wine. I looked down at my robe and slippers. Clothes first. I told them I refused to meet a man named Langford dressed up like a spa hostage. For the first time, Celeste smiled. Small, brief, real. Then her executive mode returned. Celeste told Natalie to get me a suit. Natalie looked me over. Tailored? Celeste's eyes slowly drifted from my wrinkled shirt, all the way down to the slippers. Emergency miracle, she said. That sounded pretty insulting. It was accurate, but accuracy can still be rude. Survive tonight, then file a complaint. 2 staff members were already waiting outside with garment bags. Natalie had been arranging clothes while we argued, because rich people can literally outsource panic to 3 separate departments at once. One black suit hung right in front, clean, sharp, and terrifying. A suit for a man who knew which fork to use and did not panic when water cost $12. So, definitely not me. Celeste stepped up beside me. She did not take my hand, only leaning close enough that her voice dropped beneath the sound of Natalie's typing. She told me not to let Bianca see me scared. I admitted that I am scared. She said she knew. I asked what to do, and Celeste looked toward the lobby where the roomers and dinner were waiting. Then she glanced back at me. Stay beside me anyway. My throat tightened. Not romantic, not yet. Worse. It was trust pretending to be strategy. Natalie shoved the garment bag directly into my arms. Just 30 minutes to become a believable fiancé. Beyond the open door, I could already hear the busy lobby. Phones were buzzing, guests whispering, and Bianca's laugh sounded far too close. Outside the glass, the ocean terrace waited. One dinner, one fake fiancé, and a room full of rich people waiting to see if I was real. My sweet honeymoon was officially a job interview for a massive lie, and only one whispered instruction from Celeste actually made sense. Stand beside me anyway. By 7 that evening, the fancy suit made me look like I belonged with Celeste Whitmore. My gut completely disagreed. The first 30 minutes got me into the black suit. After that, Natalie spent hours teaching me how to sit, drink, and exist around ultra-rich snobs without causing a massive corporate disaster. Apparently, I had been standing wrong my entire life. Staring into the mirror of this private suite, I could barely recognize myself. The jacket sat clean across my shoulders, and the shirt was crisp. But the highly polished shoes just reflected the terrified man trapped inside. Just Ethan Carter. Still broke. Still the sad guy who ate a chocolate honeymoon sign for dinner because grief and sugar felt the same. Only now, my disaster was wrapped in luxury fabric. Natalie stood behind me, tablet under her arm, commanding me to button up. I did. She just stared. Wrong button. I quickly undone it as she closed her eyes like I just ruined her career. Well, I joked. At least we know why I was born broke. She snapped back that God sometimes shows restraint. Comforting. Adjusting my collar, she warned that tonight is a brutal test, not a date. I honestly thought we were just getting food. Rich folks do not actually eat at these events. They just judge, threaten, fake flatter, and pretend eating salad makes them deep. Sounds totally fake, right? But remembering every wealthy snob I met today, I realized Natalie was actually underselling how bad they are. Over by the window, Celeste stood wearing a gorgeous white suit. Her hair was pinned back, her cold CEO mask completely reinstalled. If I had not seen her barefoot and raging in my suite earlier, I would have fallen for the act. But I saw the crack. Once you see someone as human, they stop being just an obstacle with fancy earrings. Celeste turned and locked eyes with me. She froze. Just for a split second, but my brain instantly shut down. What? Nothing, she muttered. I accused her of pausing, but she claimed she was just checking the fit. Natalie let out a soul-crushing groan of despair. She stepped closer to adjust my cufflink, making me freeze up. That is progress, honestly. This morning I froze because she held a champagne bottle. Now my heart stopped because her fingers brushed my wrist. Apparently, fake engagements and scandals are fine, but a stunning woman touching my sleeve is a level 10 national emergency. You clean up better than expected, she remarked. Coming from her, it sounded like a performance review for an old chair. Still, my ears burned. Thanks, I joked. I even took a shower. Big day for everyone. Celeste's mouth twitched, while Natalie begged the ceiling for mercy. The suit works, she noted. Stay glued to my side tonight. Fall behind, people notice. Walk ahead, and I will assume you have lost your mind. You make romance sound like a highway patrol. This is not romance, she shot back. Right. I sighed. Hostage employment. Natalie told me to have some discipline. Celeste's eyes snapped to mine. Ethan. Just my name, no title or insults. Somehow, that gentle tone hit harder than yelling. Natalie raised her screen. Keep answers simple. If Bianca asks how you met, say it is private. If Langford asks how long you have been serious, say long enough to matter. Celeste protects what she loves. That sounds like a cheap perfume ad, I muttered. Well, she retorted. It is still better than whatever you would say. Fair enough. Celeste grabbed her clutch. One last warning, Celeste added. Bianca will try to make you feel cheap. That hit hard, raw truth with no corporate spin. I admitted she would not have to try very hard. Celeste's face softened. Do not help her do it, she commanded, looking right at me. You are absolutely not here because you are cheap. You are here because I made a reckless public move, and you decided not to ruin me. That is a nice way to say I panicked. But both are true, and I hated how kind she sounded. It was the kind of kindness that touches a fresh bruise. Natalie finally pushed open the door. It was time. We walked out to the ocean terrace. Natalie led the way, Celeste walked right beside me, and security flanked our rear. I was not trailing behind her like luggage anymore. I stood right next to her. It should not have mattered, but it did. The gorgeous terrace glowed with lights, white tables, and silverware designed to expose poor people. The pitch-black ocean roared beyond the railing, making this place look incredibly beautiful yet deeply hostile all at once. You can already feel the tension. All the wealthy guests turned slowly, scanning us like a committee deciding our ultimate fate. Bianca Ashford sat near the center wearing a pale blue gown. Opposite her was a silver-haired man in his 50s, his face totally frozen unless massive money was moving. That is Langford, I whispered before Natalie could even speak. He is an influential board investor. Natalie looked surprised. You actually remembered, she noted. I always remember threats better than names, I whispered back. Celeste overheard us, and her shoulders relaxed slightly. Langford stood up first, and everyone followed because apparently money has its own gravity. He greeted her as Celeste, omitting her title. That told me everything. His cold gaze shifted to me. Congratulations, he said. Today has been quite surprising. Celeste smiled, firing back that surprises are easier when people do not weaponize them. Several guests went dead silent. Bianca raised her wine glass, trying to hakakupuk, while Langford kept his fake smile firmly in place. He hoped tonight would bring clarity. Clarity. Rich snobs love clean words for messy drama. Suddenly, Celeste wrapped her arm through mine, completely on purpose. The whole table watched us, and my heart beat out of my chest. Langford stared at me, asking if I was the mystery man. I opened my mouth. Celeste's fingers gently squeezed my arm as a quick reminder, not a warning. Taking a deep breath, I told him to just call me Ethan tonight. Langford's eyes narrowed. He wanted my last name, so this was a tiny victory. Bianca scoffed, mocking my modesty. Celeste, she sneered, you always collect weird mysteries. I stared at her. There is only one mystery today. Who took photos through our private door before breakfast? The table went completely quiet as guests stared at Bianca instead of me. Her fingers suddenly gripped her glass way too tightly. Langford gestured to sit down before dinner turned into a courtroom trial. We took our seats, and 3 aggressive-looking glasses were immediately filled by the waiter. I grabbed the glass to my left. Celeste leaned in close. That one is not yours. I froze, holding it midair. What? Yours is on the right, she murmured. I set it back down very carefully. Bianca noticed immediately. First formal dinner together, she asked sweetly. I stared at the army of glassware. With this many cups? Absolutely. Some guests laughed, laughing with me, not at me. A very different, highly dangerous feeling. Across the table, Langford watched over his wine. You are not used to this circle. I could have lied. Pretended I grew up with assigned forks, but that act would last 8 seconds before I buttered the wrong inheritance. No, I said, but I am learning pretty quickly. Bianca leaned in. Learning for love? She made love sound like a cheap corporate internship, more like learning because when people stare, it helps to know which glass not to steal. Laughter erupted again. Bianca thinned her smile, but Celeste defended me. At least he is honest. He usually is, she added. That word made me glance at her. She said it like she actually knew me, not like we were pretending. Just then, the first course arrived. It was a tiny salad, a single leaf, 2 berries, and some decorative green apology. I stared at the plate, wondering if this was real food, when Celeste bumped my knee. Beautiful food, I corrected quickly. Do not fight the salad, she whispered. It started it. Her mouth twitched with amusement, while Bianca watched us with narrowed eyes. She expected a stiff, careful show. But Celeste and I had a very different problem. We were just completely exhausted, highly irritated, and totally trapped together. Under this expensive lighting, it somehow looks like real chemistry. But check this out. Langford suddenly asks how we met, and all eyes lock on me. I searched my brain for Natalie's prepped answer. Private, months ago, keep it short. But Bianca smiled like she was just waiting for me to fail a script. Being annoyed made me stupid in a useful way. We met unexpectedly, I said, and she corrected me within the first minute. Langford's eyebrow rose. About what? Several things. Mostly that she is not the kind of woman you understand by standing far away and reading headlines. Just like that, the entire table went completely silent. Celeste looked down briefly, taking a sip of water. Langford studied me, calling it an interesting answer. Honestly, sir, that was the safest version. Then Bianca cut right in. She asked where our first trip together was. My mouth opened before my brain could stop it. Technically, this one. Celeste stomped her heel on my shoe. I corrected fast. Privately. This one was private. The diamond bracelet woman covered her mouth. Langford looked pretty amused, but Bianca smiled because she had finally caught my wobble. Perfect. A mistake. Proof I was out of my depth. Then she went for the throat, asking how long we had been engaged. Long enough, Celeste said. Bianca sneered that it was not a date. It was not meant to be, Celeste replied. So no date, no announcement, no ring, and no one aware? Bianca scoffed that it sounded less like privacy and more like a rushed, made-up story. Several guests actually stopped eating. Langford watched us intently. Heat started crawling up my neck. The ring. My real ring was upstairs, stuffed in a bag, bought for a woman who ditched me for Mason Reed. Celeste's hand moved closer under the table. She could have easily used that ring, but she did not. That quiet choice hit me way harder than Bianca's interrogation. Celeste spoke up. Not every commitment is made for public consumption. How convenient, Bianca replied. I set my fork down on the plate. It clattered loudly. Good. You keep saying convenient like taking a secret photo through a doorway was some noble public service, I snapped. Bianca softened her expression instantly, telling me she understood why I was defensive. People are asking questions because Celeste matters. If this is real, she claimed, curiosity is pretty natural, but if it is not, she is asking everyone to trust a lie. That statement landed heavily, because this engagement was, in fact, a total lie. Not Bianca's twisted version, but this entire fake performance. Langford finally spoke up. If he is real, this is private. If he was invented this morning, this is pure panic. No sugarcoating, just a direct accusation. I looked at Langford, then Bianca, then Celeste's hand resting near mine. A smarter man definitely would have kept his mouth shut, but I was an improving idiot, a completely different breed. Can I ask something? Langford nodded. Does everyone here always discuss human beings like they are investment risks, or is that just tonight's theme? Nobody laughed. Great start. I kept going anyway. Look, I get it. Celeste is important. You want to know if she panicked, if I am real, or if Bianca caught a scandal. But if you really care about trust, maybe start with the person who took that photo, wrote a cheap caption, watched strangers drag her name, and then brought the rumor to dinner like a brand new handbag. Talk about absolute silence. A woman near Langford lowered her glass, and a man glanced at Bianca's phone. Bianca gasped, touching her chest. I am sorry, Ethan, she stammered. I did not realize questions about honesty would feel like an attack. Perfect voice, perfect face, pure poison masquerading as an apology. I smiled back. I am quite new here, I said, so I thought emotions were still allowed before dessert. The diamond bracelet woman laughed and covered her mouth too late. Bianca saw it. Celeste saw. Langford saw. For a second, I almost checked under the table to see if some competent soul had possessed me. Celeste leaned in and murmured to be careful. Bad careful or good careful, I whispered back. Yes, fair, she conceded. The second course arrived, fish served with a sauce that had probably gone to a private school. Bianca waited until everyone finally relaxed again. So Ethan, since you know her so well, what is Celeste's favorite breakfast? I froze instantly. I had absolutely no idea what her favorite breakfast was. I did not know her birthday, her middle name, or if billionaires even had favorite colors or just approved color palettes. But then I remembered this morning the ignored phone calls, the untouched cold coffee, and how she treated hunger like a weakness. I actually do not know her favorite breakfast, I admitted. Bianca's smug smile brightened instantly. But I know she refuses to eat when stressed. She lets coffee get cold and pretends she meant to. She acts like blood sugar is beneath her, which is ridiculous because even terrifying chief executives need real food. Celeste turned slowly toward me. Oh no, had I seriously just accused a powerful billionaire of being cranky and hungry right in front of her core investors? The entire terrace held its breath. Then, the diamond bracelet woman chimed in that it sounded exactly like Celeste. A man sitting near Langford nodded in agreement. Celeste stared at me a second longer, then calmly took a bite of her fish. He is annoying, she said to the table, making a few guests laugh, but he is also correct. That should not have felt like a win, but it did. Bianca's hand tightened around her napkin, the first real crack. Later, she tried a different blade. I have to admire you, Ethan. Some men would feel pretty uncomfortable in this room without any background, position, or visible connection to Celeste's world. But you seem very brave, she noted, pausing. Or very flexible. There was some public petting before the slap. She only means love is powerful, and opportunity can be powerful, too. Sometimes people confuse them when the woman involved is rich enough. The words hit exactly where she wanted. As Chloe's voice came back, pretend love is enough. Mason's laugh follows, bragging that his quarterly bonus could pay for this trip twice. Celeste shifts, ready to step in. I did not want rescue from that sentence. I wanted to survive it myself. Looking at Bianca, I declare that I am broke. The table froze. Bianca looked pleased. She thought I had admitted the part she wanted. So, I finished my sentence. I am broke, I still do not know which bread plate is mine, and I am pretty sure the salad was decorative, but I am not for sale. No one moved. I did not come here looking for some wealthy woman to hide behind. And I am not beside Celeste because someone waved cold cash at me. Bianca's smile faltered. I tell her she keeps trying to make me sound cheap just to make her own photo look cleaner. But I am not the one who turned someone's private disaster into dinner entertainment. That blow landed. It made Bianca's friend glance at her, and made Langford stop pretending this was only business. Bianca laughed too late. Celeste answers before I can, telling her she is defensive for someone with nothing to hide. He has been insulted for half an hour by people who know nothing about him. Defensive is generous, she snaps. That was the first time she defended me without needing to, not the fake fiancé, but me, Ethan. I look at her, but she does not look back. Her eyes stay locked on Bianca, cold, sharp, loyal in a way that felt like strategy until it did not. Langford folded his hands and tells Bianca her concern has been thoroughly expressed. Bianca lowers her eyes, whispering that of course she only wants what is best for Celeste. How exhausting for you, Celeste replies. A nearby server nearly drops a spoon. I look down at my plate before I smile like an idiot. The dinner balance shifted. Bianca was still dangerous, and Langford was still watching. My name remained one search away from public entertainment, but I had not collapsed. Then Langford changes targets. He asks Celeste if some investors are questioning whether this morning affected her judgment. The table completely cooled. If this becomes a lie, he adds quietly, he won't be the only one asking questions tomorrow. Bianca's eyes brightened while Celeste's face stayed calm. Way too calm. I leaned back, thinking if this is her distracted, I would hate to see everyone else focused. A few heads turned. I watched her masterfully handle a stolen photo, a nasty rumor, a lobby full of phones, a fake engagement she absolutely did not plan well, and this dinner. I have been awake for less than a single day of this, and I already need a chair emotionally. That diamond bracelet woman laughs again as Langford looks at Celeste. She did not plan well enough. Celeste looked at me. Danger. So much danger. I'm just saying she adapts fast, I state. She kept staring. And she should eat more. That came out before I could stop it. The table actually laughed, and even Natalie looked down at her tablet for 1 second. Celeste's glare could curdle solid stone. Under it, that almost smile appeared again, Langford noticed. Interest, maybe respect. Watch closely now, because with rich people, wins always come with future invoices. Bianca's smile returned even colder as her gaze moved past me toward the terrace doors. 2 staff members whispered near the entrance, one holding a phone. Natalie noticed, murmuring that the corporate hospitality liaison is arriving because Langford requested additional resort support. Celeste's eyes instantly narrowed. I did not approve that, Celeste snaps. Langford's office had gone straight through the summit coordinator. Bianca took a slow sip of wine. Maybe she caused it. Maybe she just smiled when it happened. At this point, I trusted Bianca about as much as sketchy airport sushi. The terrace doors open, and a man's laugh comes through first. Confident, relaxed, and familiar enough that my shoulders locked before my brain even finished processing it. A staff member steps aside as a man wearing a Whitmore Global badge walks onto the terrace. Clean haircut, silver watch, a smile too sure of itself. Mason Reed. Then Chloe steps in right beside him, her hand hooked around his arm, though Natalie's disgusted face makes it pretty obvious she has no official reason to be there. She wore a soft cream dress I had never seen before, probably bought for the exact vacation I had paid emotional rent on for years. Her smile stays bright until she spots me. Instantly, it dies. Her eyes flick to Celeste sitting right beside me. Something sharp crosses Chloe's face before that sweet expression returns. It was lightning fast, but I saw it. Chloe had absolutely not expected me to look wanted, while Mason was still loudly laughing into his phone. Then, his eyes scanned the table past Langford, past Bianca, past Celeste, landing right on me. I am sitting beside Celeste Whitmore in a designer black suit that cost more than my plane ticket. Mason froze, his mouth hanging open. He was about to laugh, but then his eyes flicked to Celeste. That laugh died before it even reached his throat. His gaze slowly drops to the Whitmore Global badge on his chest. For the first time since I have known Mason Reed, he actually checked the room before opening his big mouth. The entire terrace goes dead silent, quiet enough to hear the ocean below. Celeste follows my cold stare, asking if I know him. I look at the man who stole my girlfriend, copied my honeymoon, and literally works for the woman sitting right beside me. Mason's face went pale. Chloe's hand slipped from his arm. Look at this guy, he is totally out of words. Yeah, I say, that is Mason. Just yesterday, Mason Reed laughed at my cheap proposal ring. Tonight, he stands in front of Celeste Whitmore and realizes just how fragile his employment really is. The terrace stayed completely silent. Mason's smile had died halfway across his face. His phone was still near his ear, but whoever was on the other end might as well have been on another planet. He looks at me first, old habit, trying to discount me. Then, his eyes shift to Celeste beside me, the new reality. Oh, no. His gaze drops straight to the Whitmore Global badge swinging against his chest. For once in his life, Mason Reed did the math before opening his mouth. I wanted to enjoy this. I really did. A better man would have just leaned back and let the silence punish him. But I was not that man yet. My stomach tightened until even breathing felt expensive. Because Mason was not just my old high school bully. He was the man Chloe chose while my cheap ring was still in my pocket. And Chloe was standing right behind him, staring at me like I had become some language she used to speak but suddenly could not read. Celeste's voice stays dangerously low. Celeste asks if I know him, and I say yeah, that is Mason. Mason swallows hard, muttering tiny, then beautiful. Bianca saw it too. Her eyes brightened like she was handed a ribbon-wrapped knife. Mason drops his phone and grovels to Miss Whitmore, his corporate survival instinct kicking in faster than a heartbeat. He stammers. Celeste freezes him with one word clearly. That single word makes him stand up straight. Chloe glances between Celeste and me, remembering how Mason used to brag about Whitmore Global. Now she is staring at the literal owner of her boyfriend's entire career, and all the color drains from her face. Celeste is actually looking at me with respect, which makes Chloe's eyes narrow in jealousy before she masks it. I hate that I still find her pretty. I am not blind, just bitter. Natalie steps forward with her tablet, reading Mason like an open book. She notes his low department rank. Mason freezes and stammers, but Natalie immediately shifts her gaze to Chloe, asking who his guest is. Mason chokes up. Chloe tries to save him, using that soft, innocent voice she plays to make people think she is harmless. That voice. The one she used to shatter me yesterday. My jaw tightens, and Celeste notices. Celeste can read my trauma faster than a hotel bills and unpaid minibar. Chloe steps closer and speaks my name, but her tone has completely changed. She says she did not expect to see me here, sounding sweet and concerned, but I can hear the ugly truth hidden underneath. She never expected me to look successful, let alone have an incredibly powerful woman standing up to defend me. My hand tenses under the table. I swear I do not reach for her, but Celeste touches my hand. Support? Or warning? Knowing Celeste, it is probably both. Bianca sets her glass down, smiling as she asks how they know me. Mason is the first to recover. He lies smoothly, saying we knew each other a long time ago. But I call him out, saying yesterday was not that long ago. The table shifts as Mason's smile twitches and Chloe panics. Honestly, I should have kept quiet, but his lies pushed me too far. I tolerate a lot, But not this. Mason lies about us crossing paths. A funny way to describe stalking me a day after dumping me. The words slip out before I can stop them, and Chloe whispers my name. Her voice used to make me apologize even when she was the villain. Not this time. Mason smiles, claiming that I must be confused. This guy threw my backpack in the trash in high school, dated my ex behind my back, and now calls me confused. He mocked my ring, followed me to this resort, and now, Celeste finally cuts him off. He instantly stiffens. Yesterday, he used her company name to brag. Tonight, that same name acts like a tight leash around his neck. Celeste looks from his ID badge to Chloe, asking why he brought an uninvited, unauthorized guest to their private dinner. Mason panics, claiming Chloe was just nearby and he did not realize the table was restricted. Natalie peers at him over her tablet. She tells him it was always restricted. At the door, a security guard takes a silent step forward, catching Chloe's attention immediately. Mason instantly lets go of her arm. It looked romantic a second ago. Now, it looks like evidence. He mutters an apology. Mason admitting a mistake? Younger me would have expected the sky to fall. Chloe quickly clasps her hands together. She plays the victim, apologizing and offering to leave. Her voice is so sweet that some of the wealthy guests actually start to soften. That is her superpower, turning pure selfishness into a tragic accident. Bianca touches her earring, telling them there is no need to run. She suggests Chloe stay to help clarify things. The guard waits. Chloe could easily walk away right now, but she refuses to lose. Celeste glares at Bianca, demanding to know what there is to understand. Bianca retorts that everyone was forced to accept me as Celeste's private fiancé. It is a clean, perfect trap. Langford stays completely silent. His quietness gives Bianca the floor. Celeste leans back, her face totally unreadable, as Bianca asks Chloe how she knows me. Chloe whispers that we dated for a very long time. The table goes silent. These rich folks absolutely love drama when someone else gets humiliated. Celeste cuts in, asking exactly when the relationship ended. Chloe hesitates, but Mason stupidly blabs out that it was quite recent. Celeste snaps, silencing him instantly. Chloe finally confesses the truth: it was yesterday. The atmosphere shifts instantly, no gasps, but eyes dart between us. Talk about a mess, my real heartbreak just crashed right into this fake engagement. Bianca acts sympathetic. Painful? I laugh. That is putting it very lightly. Chloe starts tearing up. She has always been too good at crying. It is dangerous because she genuinely pities herself while actively destroying you. She claims she never wanted to hurt me. What absolute trash. Mason touches her arm, trying to pretend she handled everything kindly. Kindly? I scoff. Mason freezes too late. Celeste and the entire table hear it. Standing by my bags laughing at my proposal ring is not complicated. Chloe turns pale instantly. Bianca freezes, realizing I just served up a weapon much sharper than she expected. Langford glares at Mason. A proposal ring? Celeste briefly touches my hand, reminding me that I do not have to perform for their entertainment. The ring is still upstairs. They do not need to see it yet, and neither do I. I tell them to forget it, but Bianca leans in, insisting nobody wants to drop this topic. Celeste stares her down. That's enough, Bianca says with a smile. She just wants to get the timeline straight. Yesterday, Ethan was dating Chloe. Today, he's your fiancé. Obviously, everyone has questions. More like you are enjoying them, Celeste fires back. Chloe glances between them, her eyes flashing with discomfort, not grief. She hates seeing another woman defend Ethan. Chloe softens her voice, looking at him to say she is not trying to embarrass Ethan. But for 3 years, she actually wanted to believe lines like that. Ethan fires right back, reminding her she brought Mason to his place yesterday, standing by while he laughed. Chloe looks down, claiming she quietly told him to stop. That shut her up, a small but real hit. Mason's face instantly hardens, warning Ethan to be careful as the old bully briefly slips back out. But Mason quickly remembers where they are, awkwardly correcting it to Mr. Carter. The tension is thick, and Celeste slowly glares down at his company badge. Celeste asks if he normally tells guests to be careful, forcing Mason to apologize. Celeste demands a better tone, making him yield as Bianca watches the room adjust. Mason cannot fight back directly now, but Chloe's soft attacks are perfect weapons for Bianca. She turns to Chloe, calling the whole situation quite shocking. Your ex appearing as Celeste's secret fiancé right after your breakup must be crazy. Chloe pretends to tremble, claiming she is both shocked and incredibly worried. That word worry flips her control into fake kindness. Bianca asks what she means, and Chloe explains that Ethan was incredibly hurt yesterday and actually feels things deeply. He built a whole future around her, and since he gives his all when he feels chosen, Chloe just wants to make sure nobody takes advantage. The guests absorb the soft poison as Ethan's skin goes cold. She did it. Chloe made herself the caring ex, Celeste the predator, and Ethan just a pathetic tool being used. No shouting, just pure manipulation, and people are buying it. His mouth goes completely dry. Ethan hates Chloe for saying it, and hates himself because a pathetic part of him still wants her to care. Celeste cuts in, declaring Ethan is not a child. Her voice is cold and firm, saying she does not need a heartbroken man to protect her reputation, demanding this stop being entertainment. Chloe flinches hard. Bianca tries to step in, but Celeste cuts her off completely. Celeste then turns to Chloe, asking if she was worried when she left him with 2 tickets and no luggage. Chloe's face completely drops as the table goes dead silent. You can tell Ethan is shocked she actually remembered what he told her earlier. Maybe she actually listens harder than anyone thinks. Chloe stammers that it was private, but Celeste fires back that she made it relevant. Mason steps forward. Mason claims this is not appropriate, but Celeste snaps back that neither is bringing an unauthorized guest to question her fiancé's mental state. Hearing her say, "my fiancé," so easily, makes Ethan's heart skip a stupid beat. Then, Langford finally speaks up, questioning Mason's role as the hospitality liaison. He demands to know why Chloe is even here. Mason looks around in panic, his borrowed confidence instantly evaporating under their heavy glares. Mason stammers that she was with him, but Natalie raises an eyebrow, stating that is not authorization as a security guard slowly steps forward. The room silently agrees, and Mason slowly edges away from Chloe. Not quite abandoning her, but just enough to look like a submissive employee again. That hurts Chloe deeply. Seeing an opening, Bianca throws her a lifeline, telling Chloe to stay since her perspective on Ethan might actually matter tonight. Celeste points out how convenient that perspective is, but Bianca smiles and fires back that Ethan is convenient for her. A pretty clean hit. Their fake engagement barely survived the first test because Ethan seemed believable, but Chloe and Mason are turning that very humanity into a massive weapon. Mason seizes the opening, politely claiming he does not want to overstep, though he absolutely does, because his history with Ethan makes it irresponsible to stay silent. Ethan clenches his fists as the old bully hides behind corporate speak. Celeste calmly glares at him, demanding to know what he is implying. Mason glances at Chloe, then warns Celeste that Ethan might not be the person she thinks he is. The tension rises as Chloe looks down in fake sadness. Bianca raises her glass without taking a sip. Just yesterday, Mason mocked Ethan because he thought he was completely powerless against him. But tonight, he is standing before his boss, Celeste, and a table of elite witnesses, desperately trying to spin his past bullying as a helpful warning. Now get this, Mason is trapped. He looks at Chloe, but she ignores him. He must choose between lying about Ethan or risking the very career he worships. Celeste stares at his badge, then his face. She commands him to explain. Mason swallows hard as her voice drops even colder, reminding him he is speaking strictly as her employee. Shrinking the arrogant bully took only 3 simple words from Celeste, "as my employee." Mason stands paralyzed with his corporate badge, his phone dead, while Chloe stays close enough to profit but far enough to deny everything. Celeste just waits calmly, not needing to raise her voice. The heavy silence feels like a nerve-wracking performance review. Mason clears his throat, stammering that Ethan might just be going through a highly emotional situation. From discount Ethan to Mr. Carter, fear really upgraded him tonight. Celeste coldly repeats, "an emotional situation." Mason agrees it is personal. Ethan wants to tell him to stop sugarcoating his past cruelty, but the room is waiting to jump on any slip-up. So he keeps quiet, which is painful and pretty new. Mason takes this silence as permission, babbling that Ethan and Chloe broke up yesterday. He claims it causes impulsive reactions. Impulsive? This guy stole Ethan's girl and brought her to a private dinner, yet Ethan is somehow the impulsive one here. Celeste asks if he is suggesting Ethan is using her. Mason stammers he wouldn't use that word, even though he was totally building toward it. Mason looks around for backup before telling Celeste that hurt people sometimes attach themselves to anything that makes them feel slightly less humiliated. Hurt, humiliated, attached. 3 sharp words that make Ethan sound like a sad, wet dog rescued from the rain. Chloe looks down perfectly on cue. Under the table, Celeste's hand rests right next to Ethan's as he stares at Mason, remarking how professional he is tonight. Yesterday, the insults were much shorter. A woman near the end almost smirked. Mason's jaw tightened, and Bianca spoke in a pretty soft tone. "Ethan, do you see how this looks?" she asks. "No, Bianca. Please help me out. I have only been torn apart by wealthy strangers for one dinner, so I am still learning how things work here." Someone chuckles softly at the end of the table. Bianca taps her glass. "Once yesterday I was with Chloe, and today I am Celeste's secret fiancé." She says Mason knows me and is warning Celeste that I am emotionally unstable, Emotionally unstable, that brutal phrase lands exactly where Bianca wanted it. Chloe didn't even have to call me crazy because Bianca is doing it for her. Mason raises his hands, claiming he never said unstable, but Celeste snaps that he definitely implied it, shutting him up. Chloe steps forward, begging everyone not to turn this into an attack on me. For just a split second, some foolish, leftover part of my heart actually hears genuine concern in her voice. But then I see her scan the room before even looking at me. Instantly cured. Chloe says I am a good person, sounding like a funeral. You said that yesterday, I tell her. She claims she meant it, but I shoot back that she just used it. The table goes silent. She recovers instantly, softening her voice. You love with your whole heart, Ethan. That was always beautiful about you. Beautiful, I hate that word from her. It is always polished up for witnesses before she twists it, claiming that when I feel abandoned, I panic. She says I make rash decisions just to feel chosen again. The entire room absorbs her words. If I react with anger, she wins. If I stay quiet, she still sounds right. If I try to defend myself, I just look like the pathetic man she is painting. Celeste turns to Chloe, snapping that she speaks about me like I am not even sitting here. Chloe says she is trying to protect me, but Celeste demands to know from whom. Before Chloe can answer, Celeste points out she walked in here with the guy who literally laughed at my proposal. You told a room of strangers that his pain makes him reckless, and now you call that protection? Chloe starts crying on cue, but a woman wearing a fancy diamond bracelet notices it is way too fast. Langford catches it too, not enough to flip the room, but it leaves a real crack. Chloe pleads that she never asked Mason to laugh, which is technically true. Chloe loves hiding behind technicalities. I look at her and say, no, you just stayed. That blows right through her polished defense. Mason jumps in quickly, claiming this is exactly what he meant. Ethan is hurt, and I get that, but he is turning a painful breakup into some massive public drama. My reputation, Celeste coldly states, is not improved by my employee bringing my fiancé's ex-girlfriend here to diagnose him in front of my investors. Hearing the word employee hits Mason hard, making his shoulders tense right up. A waiter lowers his tray slightly. Bianca sees the room drifting away, so she changes tactics. Fine, let us be less polite, she says. The whole terrace braces. She turns to me, bringing up the ring Mason mentioned. My stomach completely drops. It feels like that little velvet box upstairs just slammed right onto the table. Were you going to propose to Chloe yesterday? Bianca asks. My mouth opens, but no sound comes. Chloe answers for me with a too quick yes. I look at her. She keeps her eyes glued to the floor, pretending to protect my dignity while exposing the most humiliating moment of my entire life, so she can control the narrative. He was going to propose, Chloe says, acting like she wanted to protect my feelings. I just stare at her. You knew, Mason knew, I say. Instantly, Chloe goes completely pale. Mason glares at me. Good, that truth slipped out cleanly, and Bianca definitely noticed. Wait, Mason knew? Chloe recovers quickly, saying he just guessed, while Mason nods his head too fast in agreement. He says it was obvious. Maybe, maybe not, but I know Chloe's panic when she lies. I had dated that exact nervous rush of words for 3 years, and Celeste clearly sees it, too. Celeste doesn't press the issue in front of everyone, which really matters. Bianca just smirks. So, let me get this straight. Yesterday, Ethan was ready to propose to Chloe. Look at how Bianca spins this. Yesterday Chloe dumps him, and today he is your fiancé, she tells Celeste. Does this timeline feel like panic to you too? Simple lies are dangerous because they are so easy to believe. The table shifts as Mason gains confidence, while Chloe looks pretty sad. Bianca looks pleased with herself, so I finally speak up. Yeah, I was going to propose to Chloe yesterday. Every single eye turns to me, but speaking the truth hurts way less than hiding it. I bought a ring I could barely afford. I planned an entire future with someone who had already decided I would never be enough. The table suddenly goes dead silent. It is a different quiet now. I look at Mason and remind everyone how he laughed. His face hardens, claiming he didn't laugh at me. Even Chloe looks uncomfortable. Mason tries to correct himself, saying he didn't understand the whole situation. You understood enough to enjoy it. I shoot back. Nobody laughs. And then Langford speaks. Langford asks Mason if that is accurate. Mason looks around, completely cornered by manners. If he denies it, he is a liar. If he admits it, he is just cruel. If he blames Chloe, he looks incredibly weak, a perfect trap. He forces a fake smile, saying it was a tense breakup, and he might have made a comment he regrets. My entire proposal has just been demoted to a simple comment. Celeste's voice cuts in, demanding to know what comment. Specific facts are harder to sugarcoat. Mason gulps. claiming he doesn't remember. I give an ugly smile. I do, I say. Chloe glares, and Mason's eyes warn me to stop, but I ignore both. You literally said, "Oh crap, there was a ring." The phrase drops onto the table cheap and plain, just how he said it. A guest lowers her fork as Mason's face flushes. He stammers that he didn't mean it that way, but it sounded pretty hilarious yesterday. Chloe whispers my name, begging me to stop. Once, her voice would have stopped me, but now I am almost cured. Celeste speaks up before I can even answer. Celeste tells her not to ask me to make her shame any smaller. Chloe goes completely still, and Bianca's fingers tighten around her wineglass. Bianca sees the room shifting and gets ready to strike again. "Where is the ring now, Ethan?" she asks. My entire body freezes. And oh man, my mind races to that tiny velvet box upstairs in my luggage, hidden inside the honeymoon suite, the exact room Bianca has already turned into a massive scandal. Celeste looks at me, instantly knowing the truth, because my face has the privacy settings of a giant billboard. Bianca leans back, smirking that I still have it, while Chloe stares directly at me. Chloe's fake concern cracks into pure jealousy, regret, and utter panic as she realizes her ex is sitting at a wealthy table, wearing a better suit, next to an elite woman she cannot compete with. Langford watches me like my answer matters more than the physical ring, and it does, because if I still have Chloe's ring, how can I possibly be Celeste's fiancé? If I refuse to answer, I look like a total fraud. If I do answer, Bianca gets to drag my humiliation out into the open under the terrace lights. Celeste suddenly turns to Bianca. "Enough," Celeste snaps. "No, Celeste, this is clarity," Bianca answers. "You asked everyone to accept him as your fiancé, yet yesterday he had a proposal ring for another woman." "Fine. Let's be entirely honest here. Where is the damn ring?" My mouth goes completely dry. I could easily lie, say it is gone, but my ex Chloe knows me too well. Mason does too. I had actually packed it. Just like an idiot who still needed proof he once loved someone, right before love became a total public joke. Bianca's cold smile softens. If the past means nothing, bringing it down shouldn't hurt. It sounds so reasonable, which makes it evil. Celeste's chair shifts. She is about to stand up, to protect me. For one highly dangerous second, I desperately want her to. Then Chloe whispers, "Ethan, you do not have to do this." Looking at her soft face, it is the exact same expression she wore when she abandoned me with 2 tickets and no luggage. That is when it finally clicks. Chloe does not want to protect me. She just wants to stay, the only person who knows exactly where my deepest wound is. Bianca wants the ring as a weapon. Chloe wants it as a secret. Mason just wants the staring to stop. I look at Celeste. No orders, no rescue, just waiting. The choice is mine now. And honestly, that scares me way more than Bianca. So, Bianca asks where is the ring. The whole terrace goes dead silent. I look toward the elevators, thinking of that room upstairs where my old future is packed away in a suitcase. I finally tell the truth. It is upstairs. The table goes quiet. Bianca smiles, then go bring it down. She demands that ring like she is casually ordering dessert. For one highly humiliating second, my body almost moves on its own. My chair scrapes just half an inch against the concrete floor before my pride finally kicks in. Bianca smiles wider. Chloe's fingers clamp tightly together. Mason stares down like he wants the wood floor to swallow him whole. Now watch this. Here is where Celeste completely takes over, commanding me to sit. I freeze instantly. No pity, no panic, just pure, calm command. She acts like I still have some dignity left. My hand slips off the chair, and I sit back down. Bianca tilts her head, mocking my fear. But Celeste turns on her instantly. She is tired of Bianca mistaking cruelty for clarity. Talk about a clean cut. Langford's eyes instantly narrow. Bianca pushes her luck, arguing that I admitted the ring is upstairs. She asks if this engagement is actually real. Why is showing it a problem? Because it isn't yours, Celeste says. Bianca scoffs. It became relevant when he was my fiancé. Celeste counters, you only care because humiliating him is easier than admitting you leaked a private photo to manufacture a scandal. Bianca's fingers tighten dangerously around her glass. It is a small, fast twitch. Very clear if you watch for cracks. Natalie sees it all. Mason stays totally silent. Mason usually loves making noise when he feels like he owns the room. His quietness tonight feels incredibly heavy. Langford finally speaks up, warning Celeste that walking away won't make the question disappear. Celeste stands up. Extremely smooth, completely in control. The entire table watches her. I know, she says calmly, but I get to choose exactly where I allow a question to be asked. She looks straight at Langford. You wanted to know if I panic under pressure. Let me tell you, I am not panicking. I am simply refusing to let a bunch of rich people turn a man's worst day into cheap dinner entertainment. For 1 second, I literally forget how to breathe. Logically, she is just protecting her fake fiancé because I am part of her damage control. But logic cannot explain the way her hand drops near my shoulder, gently waiting. She is not grabbing me. She is just waiting, giving me the choice. That almost hurts more. I stand up, watching Chloe's expression completely shift as Bianca glares. Jealousy is hiding behind her concern, and she is doing a terrible job of it. Yesterday, she threw me away because I was too small for her bright future. Now, a stunning woman stands up in front of all these wealthy elite to protect the exact parts of me. Chloe left bleeding on the pavement. Apparently, my ex hates seeing someone else step into that space. Celeste glances at Natalie, telling her to end this. Natalie immediately steps forward, announcing that dinner will continue while Celeste and Ethan take a quick moment. Bianca laughs softly, mocking that a moment sounds highly convenient. Natalie shoots right back, so does cruelty when you try to brand it as concern. That line almost makes me smile. Security quietly steps in, forming a literal wall of suits. Celeste walks first, and I follow. Passing Mason, his eyes stay glued to the floor. A petty side of me wants to whisper that he probably wouldn't understand the exact line he threw in my face yesterday. But I say nothing. My throat is simply too tight. Chloe cuts us off. Ethan, she calls. Celeste stops. I stop too. Chloe steps forward in her stunning cream dress, and get this, she is still trying to play the sweet victim here. Mason tries to pull her back, telling her not now. Interesting. Mason desperately wants her to shut up. Every time she opens her mouth, we get closer to exposing what happened yesterday. And yesterday is where Mason looks like a massive loser. Chloe pulls her wrist free without even glancing at him. Mason notices, Celeste notices, and Bianca definitely does. Chloe looks at me, pleading that she just wants to talk. Her voice is quiet enough to mimic privacy, but loud enough to perform for the crowd. Celeste's expression turns icy. He is leaving. Chloe turns her gaze to Celeste. For the very first time, her sweet act cracks into something incredibly sharp. I know he is leaving. I was speaking to Ethan. Everyone can feel the sheer possessiveness in her tone. My name in her mouth, our entire history on display. Celeste doesn't back down an inch. Speak carefully, she warns. Chloe just smiles. Sweet but totally rotten. Ethan, I am so sorry this got leaked, she says. You know me, I never wanted anyone laughing at you. I just stare at her. She says that while Mason stands right behind her. The guy who laughed first, the one she chose over me anyway. You keep saying what you never wanted, I tell her, but you never say what you actually did. Her perfect smile falters. Good. A genuine slip. But she recovers quickly. I know you are angry, Ethan, but please do not let Celeste use your pain for her own benefit. She glares at Celeste on the word her. This is about marking territory, not actual concern. Celeste notices too, staying completely silent. It annoys Chloe way more than a shouting match would. Chloe steps closer, whispering that nobody here knows how much I gave up for her, or how hard I try when someone shows they care. She knows exactly where to twist the knife. Every word sounds sweet, but it just reminds this room that I was the pathetic one begging for her love to be enough. Celeste's hand brushes my sleeve lightly. A quiet, physical reminder that I am no longer standing alone. Chloe spots the touch immediately. A flash of raw emotion crosses her face. Jealousy. Not because she ever loved me right. If she had, she wouldn't have left me outside my own apartment with 2 suitcases and a ring burning through my pocket. No. Chloe was jealous because I was supposed to stay miserable after she left. Pack the ring, delete the photos. I was supposed to be a sad story she could pity. Instead, I was standing beside Celeste Whitmore, and Celeste was actually touching my sleeve. Chloe's voice sharpened by a tiny degree. Ethan Carter. My full name cut through the night air before we even reached the hallway. Natalie's head snapped around. Mason's face tightened up. Celeste's hand froze on my arm. Behind Chloe, Bianca smiled slowly. There it was, the missing piece. My stomach dropped. Chloe did not slip up. She aimed. Natalie moved instantly. The nearest guard blocked Chloe from the terrace doors, but the damage was done. Bianca's friend near the table lowered her phone way too fast. The screen went black as she locked it. Natalie saw everything. Bianca's smile turned almost sweet. Ethan Carter, she repeated. Hearing her say my full name felt less like an introduction, and more like a lock clicking open. Chloe looked down, acting sad, but she did not look surprised at all. The last naive part of me finally stopped making excuses. Celeste turned right toward Chloe. You keep claiming to protect him, Celeste said, but every time you speak, he loses. Chloe muttered, I only said his name. No, Celeste said, you gave it to someone searching for it all day. Suddenly, the dinner table was not the trap, the whole resort was. Natalie stepped up move. This time, I did not argue. Celeste guided me through the doors and into a private hallway. The warm ocean breeze disappeared. Polished marble reflected our quick steps as we rushed out. Security followed us. For 3 seconds, the only sound was my own heavy breathing. Then an elevator chimed. A couple stepped out, saw us, and immediately slowed down. One whispered, "Is that him?" My name had been out there for less than a minute, and already the world felt suffocatingly small. Natalie cursed under her breath. Now that is a bad sign. Natalie usually seems like the type to schedule her anger. Suddenly, her tablet chimed. "Already?" I asked, as she showed us the screen. A fresh gossip post popped up. No photo, just text. It read, "Celeste Whitmore's mystery fiancé is Ethan Carter, recently dumped by the woman he wanted to marry yesterday." Comments flooded in. Ethan Carter was proposing yesterday? Cover story confirmed. Is he a poor victim? Or just a paid actor? Someone find his socials. My mouth went dry. It was not a mystery guy anymore. It was me, Ethan Carter. My full name. "Oh great," I muttered. "I just got upgraded from a scandal accessory to a searchable idiot." Nobody laughed. Fair enough. Then Chloe's voice echoed from behind us. "Ethan." Of course. I turned around. Chloe was standing by the entrance with Mason right behind her, and Bianca hovering a few steps back. Security blocked them, but the damage had already leaked everywhere. Mason looked furious, not at Bianca, but at Chloe. He had not planned this. She did. "Chloe, stop talking," he snapped. She ignored him, classic. "I was just trying to make people realize you are real," Chloe claimed. Celeste let out a short, dry laugh. Bianca stepped up with a mockingly sweet smile. "How thoughtful," she purred. Her eyes locked onto me. Now that they had my name, I was interesting. It felt terrible. Celeste warned her, "Miss Ashford, if another post goes up using his private details, this becomes harassment." Bianca just smiled. "I did not post anything," Bianca lied. "Your friend did." Natalie shot back, "Then speak to her. Light the match, blame the smoke." I just stared at Chloe. No fake smiles this time, no crocodile tears, just the girl who knew exactly how much I had sacrificed and where all my deepest insecurities lay. "You said my name on purpose," I whispered. Chloe swallowed hard. "Ethan, I was just scared," she pleaded. "No," I snapped. "You were jealous." Her expression shattered so fast that even Bianca looked highly amused. "You saw Celeste defend me. You saw her stop them from mocking my ring, and you absolutely hated it." Chloe's eyes flared with anger. Finally, a genuine emotion. "You honestly think she cares about you?" Chloe scoffed. "She only needs you. There is a massive difference." Those words cut deep, because deep down, I knew she was right. Celeste needed the fake fiancé. She needed me visible enough to bury the scandal, and believable enough to keep Langford from suspecting a thing. Suddenly, Celeste stepped closer. She did not hold my hand, but she looked right at Chloe. "Needing someone," Celeste said, "does not give you permission to destroy them." Chloe's mouth hung open. No words came out. And man, did that feel good. Dangerously good. Bianca let out a slow, mocking clap. "How moving," she sneered. "The net only cares about timelines." Natalie's tablet buzzed again. Another post. This one was infinitely worse. "Broke ex-boyfriend becomes billionaire's secret fiancé just one day after a failed proposal." My hands went numb. Mason saw the screen and looked away. Chloe finally looked terrified. Bianca smiled as if she had just been handed a sharper weapon. She looked at me. "Ethan Carter," she whispered. "That is much easier to search than mystery fiancé." My name hit the web before we even reached the elevator doors. Just 5 minutes ago, I was a mystery. Now, I was Ethan Carter, the gold-digging ex who upgraded overnight. Quite a massive promotion, with absolutely zero pay raise and a mountain of public shame. Bianca's final words echoed down the quiet hallway. "Ethan Carter is much easier to search than a mystery fiancé," she had whispered. "People like Bianca never need to shout when the room carries their voice for them." Natalie urged us forward. Celeste stood right beside me, looking incredibly composed, making everyone believe she was still in total control. But I knew better. Her jaw was completely locked. Her hand hovered near my arm, close enough to steady me if I stumbled, but far enough not to touch. That tiny bit of distance was doing more emotional damage than a cold shoulder ever could. The dinner had not just ended, it leaked. An elevator door slid open ahead. 2 resort guests stepped out holding their phones. They noticed Celeste, then locked onto me. One woman glanced at her screen, then snapped her eyes right to my face. "Is that him?" she whispered. My stomach twisted. Natalie instantly stepped between us and the staring guests. Private corridor? She barked. They scrambled out of the way because Natalie sounded like she had already fired 3 people today and was highly motivated to make it 4. We ducked into a service corridor. Warm gold lights faded into harsh fluorescent white, blank walls, security cameras, and the smell of bleach. Honestly, I preferred it back here. This hallway was at least honest about being stressful. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. Dozens of unknown texts, endless follower alerts, and tags from people I had not seen since high school. Then another notification pops up. Then 10 more. My thumb completely freezes. Is it cowardice or just survival? Celeste definitely notices, warning me not to look. Too late. Bored rich folks are already tearing my name apart. Natalie glances back, urging me not to engage. Honestly, what would I even say? Welcome to my execution. Please subscribe. Nobody is laughing. This shift is brutal. Chloe suddenly cries out for me to wait. I freeze. A man has limits. Celeste stops first. Security suddenly tightens near the entrance. Chloe stands there clutching her phone. Mason hovers right behind her, his face completely frozen tight. Bianca watches with a smug little grin, while Langford just takes mental notes from the terrace doorway. Chloe looks right at me, saying she must fix this. That promise should have terrified everyone. It definitely spooks Mason. He grabs her wrist. Chloe, stop. She just yanks herself free. Once again, that single gesture speaks volumes. Yesterday, he was her massive upgrade. Tonight? Just background noise with a cheap badge. Chloe raises her phone. She claims people will actually listen to her. It takes my brain a painful second to process before wanting to shut down. She insists she is just trying to help. Celeste snaps back that she has done quite enough. Bianca suddenly chimes in from behind. Bianca suggests letting her clarify to calm the mob. Natalie glares right back, snapping that nothing Bianca suggests has ever helped anyone. Chloe starts typing anyway. Mason steps in, warning her not to post. For once, he actually has solid advice. Too bad she completely ignores him. She does not. Chloe turns to me, crying that if she stays silent, everyone will think I am some massive liar. I snap back that they only think that because she leaked my name. Tearfully, she claims she did it because I was real. Too bad real was a problem yesterday. She whispers that she is posting anyway, ignoring Natalie. One silent tap. It is terrifying how much damage a single thumb can do. Talk about immediate disaster. 3 seconds later, Natalie's tablet chimes and she goes dead silent. The post pops up on a soft beige screen. Of course it is beige. Even her damage control needs a pretty aesthetic. She writes, "Please do not attack Ethan Carter. He is a good person who was deeply hurt." She adds that our breakup was painful and she knows I am vulnerable, hoping nobody exploits my pain. I read those cruel words over and over. Her words seem kind, which is exactly why they are so vicious. Vulnerable, hurting, healing. She does not call me unstable directly. By doing this, she lets everyone connect the dots themselves. Within seconds, Bianca's friend reposts it, and a trashy gossip headline immediately spawns underneath. It claims the ex-girlfriend confirms I was heartbroken just hours before the big engagement reveal. The comment section explodes, calling me a pathetic cover story. People call Celeste ruthless, while praising Chloe for being so sweet. I stare at that line, a bitter laugh getting stuck in my throat. Chloe looks up, silently pleading for me to understand. Too bad her thumb just gift-wrapped my open wound and handed it directly to the internet with a bow. Celeste snatches the tablet, reads it once, and looks at Chloe. She tells her she keeps protecting him in ways that only cause deeper damage. She points out that Chloe literally just weaponized my vulnerability for the entire internet to see. Chloe looks at me, pleading that Ethan knows she cares. Something inside me goes completely cold, not healed, just exhausted. I look at her and say, "No, I know you just like looking like you care." Good. It is not enough to ruin her, but it definitely cracks her sweet facade. Langford slowly looks between the 3 of us. His expression shifts to pure doubt, and not the kind Bianca was selling. Mason suddenly speaks up, saying he is going back to dinner. Nobody stops him. He marches to the staff door, tapping his Whitmore Global badge against the scanner. Red light. A loud, sharp beep echoes through the quiet hallway. Mason freezes. Beautiful sound. He tries again. Red. Honestly, it is even funnier the second time around as he glares at the scanner. Natalie steps in, telling him his access is paused. He stammers that he is assigned to corporate hospitality, but she notes that makes this way worse. Oh, this is pure gold. A nearby guard's mouth twitches, and mine does too. I might be suffering, but I am definitely not dead. I can still find joy in his badge failing. Mason lowers his voice, pleading to Miss Vale that he did not leak a single thing. Natalie counters that he brought an uninvited guest, gossiped about Celeste's fiancé in front of major investors, and created a massive reputation risk. He claims he was protecting the company. Natalie snaps back that he is now protected from doing more. That almost heals 3 years of misery. Mason desperately looks at Celeste, begging to explain. Celeste coldly replies that he will, but not here, and not while Chloe keeps posting on his behalf. Chloe snaps that she is not speaking for Mason. I jump in, telling her she is just speaking for herself and using everyone else as props. Complete silence. For one split second, I spot the real, ugly rage hidden behind Chloe's fake, sweet face. Then she blinks, instantly playing the victim. She whimpers that she cannot believe I would say that. Classic Chloe, fast enough to give you whiplash. Langford steps forward into the hallway. No greetings, no warmth, just business. He stares down at Chloe's post on Natalie's screen with a serious frown. He warns that by morning, people won't care about Celeste's private life. They will only ask if she used a heartbroken guy as a cheap cover story. The harsh reality hits me. Then Celeste. The worst lies are built on real truths. I was indeed heartbroken, and our fake engagement was not real. Mix all those elements with Bianca's poison, Chloe's soft voice, and a savage headline, and the truth looks incredibly guilty even when the lie is uglier. Suddenly, Natalie's tablet chimes again. Someone just dug up an old photo of me and Chloe from 2 years ago, back when we were still happy. The caption reads, "My safe place." The web puts it right beside Celeste's photo. Old me, broke but happy. New me, stiffly posing next to a billionaire. The comment underneath read, "From safe place to secret fiancé in one day." My stomach completely twisted. "That was private," I muttered. Chloe overheard. She claimed it was on her page. Her page had hit me then. She didn't just leak my name, she gave them a direct map. Old photos, old comments, 3 years of quiet happiness I thought was ours. Now complete strangers used it to judge if I was pathetic, paid, or useful. Celeste stepped up and grabbed my arm, firm, very visible. "Ethan," she said softly, "no demands, no games." She actually looked furious on my behalf. I didn't know how to handle that, so I cracked a terrible joke. "It's basically my coping mechanism. Great, my old couple photos are everywhere. Can someone at least find one where my hair doesn't look completely broke?" Natalie stared. Celeste stared. Even a guard glanced away. Then Celeste muttered with quite dry sarcasm, "Your priorities are truly something else." My brain runs on a low budget. For one quick second, the tension broke, then Bianca ruined everything by giggling. "You two make a pretty weird couple." She sounded quite amused, her eyes scanning everything. Mason's broken badge, Chloe's screen, Natalie's tablet, Celeste's hand on my arm, then Langford himself. Bianca was already plotting her next move. Celeste noticed and said, "Enough." It wasn't loud, but it worked instantly. She turned to Natalie. "Private war room, now." Guards moved in. Langford followed uninvited, probably because he always nosies around money. Bianca tried to sneak in too. A guard blocked her path. Bianca argued she was part of the dinner. Natalie snapped back, "You are not part of this room." Bianca's fake grin froze. Chloe tried to follow. Celeste stopped dead without even turning. "Now," she commanded. Chloe froze. Celeste finally looked back at her with chilling eyes. "You don't get private time with the man you just exposed." Guards opened the door. Inside, all of the resort's fancy aesthetic completely vanished. Wall monitors, security feeds, maps, and a coffee maker barely hanging on. You and I can tell this room looked just as exhausted as I was. Natalie hooked her tablet to the wall screen. It showed the gossip page, Chloe's post, the old couple photo, and the hallway camera feed. Outside, Chloe was clutching her phone with both hands. Mason stood behind her, his keycard looking pretty useless against his chest. Bianca waited further back, watching us like she was picking her next victim. My life had officially become a security briefing, very clinical, very awful. Natalie refreshed the feed. Heartbroken ex becomes billionaire's secret fiancé after one night in the honeymoon suite. The hate comments were flying. "It's a cover-up. She's using him. He looks pathetic." Chloe tried to warn us. That last one felt personal. Celeste quietly read the headline. Her face stayed blank, but she gripped her sleeve so hard the white fabric wrinkled. Langford saw it. I saw it too. Bianca's scheme was actually working. Maybe not completely, but enough. Enough to make Celeste look like a villain using a broken guy as a shield, while I looked like a cheap rebound. It even made Chloe look like the good guy. Suddenly, Natalie pulled up the lobby camera. A bright red warning flashed on screen. Royal Wing Access Dispute. Natalie muttered that it shouldn't be related. Man, I hope normal coincidences still existed here. Nobody said a word. Real bad sign. Natalie blew up the video. There stood the royal wing entrance. Two employees were blocking a guy wearing a dark shirt with an open collar. He looked rich, but not polished like Langford. Way more reckless, like a spoiled brat who had never been told no in his entire life. His sleeves were messy. One hand clutched his phone. Natalie turned up the sound. "Tell Celeste I'm here," he demanded. Celeste froze. Not cold. Just completely still. "Who is that?" I asked. Celeste stayed silent, but Natalie answered. "Adrian." Just one name, yet it instantly chilled the entire room. My chest completely tightened. Adrian. The cheating jerk who made Celeste stumble into my room in that black dress, holding a champagne bottle with a missing heel, and now he was downstairs, right when everyone started calling me her fiancé. Perfect. My fake engagement had a serious glitch. Natalie picked up her phone, ready to have security kick his butt out. Langford stopped her. "No," he said. Celeste spun around. "If he's tied to last night, tossing him out without answers will make this look way worse." I almost laughed. Honestly, the only thing worse than being a fake fiancé was being fake engaged while her actual cheating boyfriend just walked in. Bianca noticed something on the monitor. "Watch this." She immediately looked toward the lobby. Then she glared back at our door, wearing this slow, creepy smile. It was tiny, but it told me she smelled fresh blood. Chloe saw Bianca's reaction and turned around too. Mason looked up. On our screen, Adrian's loud voice barked, "Tell Celeste to get down here now." An employee blocked him. Adrian waved his phone, yelling that he'd call her himself, but she blocked him after overreacting to last night. Celeste winced slightly. Not embarrassed, just deeply hurt. My anger suddenly turned toward that screen. Overreacting? That word felt way too familiar to me. Chloe dismissed my pain as panic. Mason called my humiliation a mistake. Now, this jerk was making Celeste's betrayal sound like she just had an attitude. Turns out rich guys use cheap guilt trips, too. They just wear expensive watches. Adrian leaned right over the desk. "Tell her I saw the rumors," Adrian smirked. Natalie froze. "Ask her why everyone is calling some random loser her fiancé." The war room went dead silent. Langford slowly turned his gaze to me, then Celeste. Outside, Bianca's grin got wider, Chloe gasped, and Mason looked like things just got much worse. I stared at the screen, staring at the guy who drove Celeste to drink so heavily. Adrian looked directly into the camera lens. "Celeste," he said, knowing she'd see this, "stop hiding." Then he wore a smirk. "Oh, and bring that new fiancé of yours." The exact jerk who ruined her night now wanted to meet her new fiancé. Pretty awkward, because that fake fiancé was actually me. Adrian stood by the royal wing entrance with messy hair and rolled-up sleeves. He didn't look sorry at all, just offended by the consequences. The guy cheated, got blocked, saw a scandal online, and marched into the lobby like a customer service rep lost his luggage. Natalie immediately reached for her phone. Natalie says she will have security throw him out, but Langford stops her. If he is connected to last night, tossing him out without explanation gives Bianca another story before he even hits the driveway. I hated that he actually made sense. Celeste just stared at the security monitor. Meanwhile, Adrian stepped closer to the staff member blocking his path. The employee held his ground, though you could see the tension in his shoulders. Adrian did not look like a guy used to closed doors. He acted like every lock on earth was waiting for his name. Celeste dropped her arms and announced they were going down. Natalie spun around, telling her she was not hiding from him. Her voice was steady, way too steady. She headed for the door, then paused next to me to say, "I did not have to tag along. I really could have stayed. Smart Ethan should have remained behind with the security feeds and terrible coffee. My name was online. My ex had posted my emotional autopsy in beige, and Mason's badge had failed. That felt nice, but it was not legally enough to fix me." Then I stared at Adrian on the monitor. He smiled at the staff like the resort was rude for not rolling out champagne. I knew his type. Chloe used the soft version. Mason used the badge version. Bianca preferred the pearl earring version. Adrian, he ran the pure shameless version. Different faces, same exact toxic trick. They hurt you, then act insulted when you bleed in the wrong direction. I stood up. Celeste looked at me, and I muttered that I knew. Not courage, just terrible impulse control in a suit. But Celeste understood. Natalie sighed and warned us not to improvise. I looked back, asking if she had met tonight yet. Unfortunately, the hallway outside the operations room was packed. Chloe, Mason, and Bianca stood there, like bad life choices in fancy suits. Bianca grinned first, asking if we were going somewhere. Natalie stepped out before Celeste could speak, snapping back, "Not with you." Bianca touched her chest, calling it rude. So accurate, I mumbled, as Celeste walked right past her with me beside her. That word had become a job requirement and an emotional hazard. Chloe stepped up, pleading with my name, but I did not stop. She trailed me for 2 steps, begging me not to let this get worse. I told her she already posted my name and my emotional state to the internet. Worse already had a reserved table. Her face pinched up, claiming she wanted to protect me. I told her to retire. A guard coughed or maybe offered emotional support. The elevator doors opened. Celeste walked in first, with Natalie right behind. Langford stepped inside like he belonged in any room where money was about to catch fire. I stood next to Celeste. Bianca tried to step in, but Natalie blocked her with a single finger. Full elevator. It was not full at all. There was plenty of space, but Bianca just stared at the empty corner, then at Natalie. For once, she did not push. The doors closed on her fake smile. 2 seconds of total peace. Inside, the mirrors showed our faces way too clearly. Celeste stood tall. Natalie kept typing. Langford watched the doors. I watched Celeste's reflection direct eye contact. Felt too risky. She looked calm. Her hands did not. Her thumb dug into the side of her index finger, over and over. Small, controlled, human. I leaned in, whispering if she wanted me quiet or useful. Without looking, she asked if those were her only choices. I offered that I could also be embarrassing, though that usually just happens. Her lips twitched almost useful. A dangerous choice, I know. I thought and just watch this, because as those elevator doors slide open, we step straight into the line of fire. A wave of noise hit us first. Rich people did not yell. They just whispered in tight circles, lifted phones halfway, and stared at us with advanced social techniques. Adrian was standing by the royal wing entrance, framed by dark wood panels and 2 bright gold lamps. 3 staff members were desperately blocking his way now. Seeing Celeste, smug satisfaction washed over his face, not regret or shame, just triumph. Like her showing up proved he still had a leash on her. Guests raised their phones. Bianca did not make it into our elevator, but she must have sprinted down the public stairs. She was already hovering near the marble staircase, phone gripped tightly in her hand. Normal people took the stairs for exercise, but Bianca took them for damage control. A few seconds later, Chloe and Mason finally emerged from a side corridor. Mason looked annoyed while Chloe played the worried part, fake concern, real jealousy. What a busy woman. Adrian ignored everyone else, muttering a relieved finally as Celeste stopped a few paces back, close enough to face him, far enough to stay safe. Classic CEO distance. Just one cold, flat word. Personally, I would have packed a bag and left the island already. But Adrian just smiled wider, pointing out she noticed he was blocked. He claimed he wanted an adult talk, but Celeste snapped that he lost that privilege last night. Suddenly, his eyes lock onto me. And right there, you can feel the whole lobby turn to stare as he inspects my tired face. He mocked the word fiancé, saying it like someone had served him tap water in a crystal glass. I simply raised one hand, saying hi. I was Ethan, the fiancé, still emotionally adjusting to the role. A staff member looked down. Celeste did not smile, but her shoulders relaxed by a single breath. He snapped that he was not talking to me, so I told him to stop talking about me. The lobby went dead silent. Adrian stepped forward, making security shift. Adrian stopped, raising his hands as if everyone else was being dramatic. Pure, full body, shamelessness. Then he looked at Celeste. He scoffed, asking if she gets angry over one mistake and announces a fiancé overnight. He laughed, offended, asking if she got engaged because he kissed someone once. Just one mistake. That phrase landed hard because I had heard its variations all night. Emotional overreactions, vulnerable situations. People who did ugly things, always loved clean excuses. One mistake, she questioned. Adrian begged her to discuss it elsewhere, but Celeste shot back that he chose the lobby, making it the place. Guests raised their phones even higher. With a tightening jaw, Adrian complained she walked in at the worst time. Celeste retorted that she caught his mouth on another woman. Someone whispered, "Oh." Adrian raised a hand, claiming she kissed him. I almost had to admire the speed. Pathetic, but highly efficient. Celeste pointed out his hands were right on her waist. He argued she was upset. "So you comforted her with your tongue?" I asked out loud. The sarcastic words escaped my mouth before I could stop them. Natalie squeezed her eyes shut for a second. Langford stared at me like I had thrown a chair into a board meeting. Adrian turned around very slowly, asking what I just said. I repeated that cheating with customer service language is still cheating. A few guests actually laughed. Adrian's smile completely vanished. Chloe steps forward, warning me not to get dragged into Celeste's mess. Every sweet word out of my ex is starting to sound like a pretty dangerous trap. You made my pain public, I say, so do not comment on hers. Suddenly, her sweet talk is totally gone. Adrian glares between us and sneers at Celeste, accusing her of finding another broken guy just to make a point. A direct shot at me, but aimed to hurt her. Raising his voice, Adrian claimed she got drunk, vanished, and then walked out of a honeymoon suite with me. And now, suddenly he is her fiancé. Bianca records everything. Shameless, ugly. He is spinning it like Celeste used a broken man to punish her cheater ex. Apparently, mixing truth with lies is the theme of my entire vacation. Nobody fully believes him, but they are listening. Celeste steps up, pointing out his lies, blocks, and how he followed her here. He complains about looking like an idiot online, which almost makes me laugh. His pain is purely about his fragile ego. Celeste stares, disbelieving, as Adrian gestures wildly claiming she announced a marriage to a stranger after one single night, asking what else he was supposed to think. Maybe you should think your cheating has consequences, I suggest, while Natalie whispers an apology for letting things get so wild. Celeste nearly smiles, and Adrian sees it. That tiny smirk hurts him way more than any insult could. He orders her to his suite. Celeste refuses. No. He reaches for her wrist. Before I even think, I step in. Celeste holds up her hand. Do not touch me. The room goes dead quiet. Standing by her, she needs no shield. She just needs backup. Adrian glares at me, saying I barely know her. I surprise him by admitting that is true. I do not know her favorite song, her birthday, or how many massive companies she runs. To be honest, the scale of her wealth would probably make me need a chair. But I know what it looks like when someone hurts you and then gets offended by your reaction. I stare him down. You look pretty offended for a guy who started this entire fire. His face turns bright red, and Bianca's filming slows down as she loses her smug confidence. Langford watches us with interest, maybe even respect. I seem to be collecting a lot of strange male attention tonight. Adrian points at Celeste, asking if she is letting me speak for her. Celeste looks at me and says no, he is speaking right beside me. My throat tightens. It is pretty tough to handle this sweet moment when my anxiety is already off the charts. Pure jealousy flashes across his face. Bianca steps closer, asking if Celeste only announced this fake marriage to get back at Adrian after last night. Natalie warns her, but Bianca claims she is just asking. I step in, you are just farming cheap internet clout. Bianca snaps that I am pretty confident for a guy whose ex is supposedly worried about him. Chloe looks down with perfect, fake timing. My ex is worried? So, her ex is offended, you are concerned, and tonight is just full of toxic people using sweet words. Adrian hates being grouped with these drama chasers, but he absolutely belongs there. He demands that if I am her real fiancé, we need to prove it. The crowd raises their phones. Celeste says she does not perform, but Adrian mocks her for holding my hand earlier. You made everyone believe this lie, so prove it, he sneers, looking at me. Bianca films, Chloe tenses up, and Adrian smiles, thinking he has won. Get ready for this, he demands we kiss right there. The whole room goes dead silent, every single camera turning to capture us. Not a sound. Mason glances between Chloe and me while Natalie tenses up. Next to me, Celeste's hand goes completely still. For the first time tonight, playing her fiancé does not feel like a silly lie anymore. It feels like a massive choice I am about to be forced to make. Adrian demands Celeste kiss me in front of everyone, and she looks like she might actually do it. Then, suddenly, the elevator doors chime open behind him. That soft sound cuts right through the silence. Every phone shifts toward the elevator, and my entire nervous system goes on high alert. For 3 long seconds, I stare at Celeste's mouth, just trying not to panic in public. Then, the elevator doors finally slide open. A woman steps out wearing Adrian's black jacket over a silver dress. She has hotel slippers on, holding her key card, and looking quite annoyed about it. Seeing the crowd and Adrian, her annoyance instantly vanishes. She calls out his name, and the lobby freezes as he turns. For the first time tonight, all of Adrian's fake confidence completely drains from his face. The woman steps forward, but then stops when she notices Celeste. Celeste stands perfectly still, wearing her usual painful armor. The mystery woman looks between Celeste and Adrian, realizing something is terribly wrong. She says the front desk called their suite about him making a scene downstairs. Whispers break out, and Bianca raises her phone even higher. Bianca wanted drama, but got a massive mess instead. Adrian tells the woman to go back upstairs, which is a major mistake. Even I know that is a mistake, and I have been wrong all day. The woman blinks, asking why, but then she looks around and spots Celeste's cold face. And then, the ultimate plot twist drops. She looks at Adrian, demanding to know why he said his relationship with Celeste was already over. That reveal hits way harder than the elevator chime. Complete silence. Even a guy nearby slowly lowers his recording phone. Bianca's smug smile instantly freezes as the drama takes a wild turn. Adrian glares at the woman like she just slapped him, ordering her to shut up. He steps toward her, but security moves in first to stop him. Celeste speaks up in a cold, flat voice, mocking him for trying to clear up a rumor. She flatly asks if he really told her they were over. Ashamed, the woman admits he claimed they ended things last week, shifting the whole room. No dramatic gasps. Rich folks only make noise over bad wine, but the room shifts. Phones drop by a few inches. The hotel staff stare eebly. Imly, instead of Celeste. Her expression stays stone cold, but her fist clenches tight at her side. I want to comfort her, but I hold back. This pain is not mine to heal. Adrian lets out a harsh, ugly laugh. That is not what I said, he mutters. But to a cheater, apparently complicated just means single. A few people laugh. Adrian glares at me. Shut up, he snaps. But Celeste steps in. She tells him I should not. That sends a rush right through me. Suddenly, Bianca steps in. Well, she says. This is becoming quite unfortunate. Natalie shoots back. Unfortunate for whom? Bianca shuts up. 5 minutes ago, Adrian made Celeste look like the crazy one. Now his mistress stands there in hotel slippers at the Royal Wing elevator, wearing his jacket, exposing how he lied to her too. No more rumors. This is a man completely destroying himself. Adrian points to the elevator, ordering her to go upstairs, but Adrian stands her ground. She might have been naive enough to buy his smooth talk, but right now, she looks like someone finally realizing what sick game she was dragged into. I asked you last night, she whispers. I asked if she knew. Celeste glares at Adrian, and the whole lobby follows. Adrian stammers that she misunderstood. Again, I mock. He snaps, but I laugh. It is amazing how every woman misunderstands you whenever you get caught. Natalie warns me to stop. I shut up, only because I see Celeste's lips twitch. Adrian notices too, his face turning bright red. Adrian asks if she thinks this is funny. No, she says. The whole lobby goes dead silent. Security moves, but she waves them off. Her voice is deadly quiet as she lists his sins. He cheated, lied, followed her, and dismissed her pain. He demanded to enter her room, tried to grab her, and ordered her to kiss me just to soothe his bruised, fragile ego. Adrian stares in utter shock. Chloe gasps, and Mason swallows hard. Langford watches the drama unfold like a live train wreck. Celeste finishes with a cold no. Adrian, I do not find this funny. He has absolutely nothing to say. Adrian slowly slides his jacket off her shoulders. Everyone watches as she holds it out, but he refuses to take it. The jacket hangs between them like evidence. Bianca lowers her phone an inch. Her video is ruined now. Adrian drops his jacket onto the front desk counter. Adrian whispers to Celeste that she did not know. Celeste looks at her. Now you do, she says. No scene, no shouting. Just a door slamming shut. Backing away toward the elevator wall, she clutches her purse tight with both hands. Furious, his ally is gone, Adrian turns on Celeste. You came here to embarrass me, he sneers, then points at me. You kissed him. I just blink. Not yet, I speak up. Huge mistake. My mouth just loves pouring gas on a fire. Chloe pales, realizing what we almost did. The kiss Adrian himself ordered. The one interrupted by his mistress. Phones fly back up. Adrian throws his hands out, desperate enough to act completely shameless. You still have not proved anything, he yells. Punish me if you want, but do not pretend this guy actually means a single thing to you. Chloe steps up. Her voice trembles with panic. You do not have to let her use you to prove a point, Ethan. Mason stares at her. He finally realizes her concern is entirely about me, but Chloe is too frantic to notice. Adrian smiles, taking the bait. See, he gloats. Even his ex knows he is just being used. Used. Vulnerable. Just a pawn. The old trap closes in. It is funny how toxic people always wrap their weapons in sweet words. Yesterday, I would have backed down, apologized, and thanked her for the fake care. But today, I watched her throw me to the wolves for clout. You better believe I am learning my lesson now, slowly, but surely. You are right, I say aloud. Chloe's eyes widen and Adrian sneers. I turn to Celeste and tell her she does not have to prove a thing with me. The lobby goes silent. I look at Adrian. You do not get to order her around just because your apology tour burned down. His smile vanishes. I am starting to love that look. I look at Chloe. If Celeste kisses me, it won't be for your fear, his embarrassment, or Bianca's video. Chloe gasps, but nothing comes out. Then Celeste softly says my name, Ethan. I look over at her. The lobby does not vanish. All these snobs and their recording phones are still there, but Celeste is staring only at me now. Her perfect composure cracks just enough to show the vulnerable woman underneath, the one who woke up in my room yesterday with ruined makeup. The one who held a champagne bottle like a weapon, who called me a nobody, then spent the day showing how much she hurt. She takes one step closer. My lungs freeze. She stops right before me. Not for him, she whispers. It is not a question, but she waits for my answer anyway. Adrian demands, Bianca films, Chloe warns, but Celeste just waits. I could step back, but I don't. Not for him, I say. Her fingers gently touch my jacket. The lobby goes so quiet I can hear a phone vibration across the room. Then, Celeste kisses me. No acting, no movie music, just her hands holding my lapel. My hand just hovers uselessly near her waist because my brain has completely shut down. Her lips are warm against mine for 2 seconds that make the entire world disappear. I should be worrying about the lies, the drama, the cameras, or how we just met. But I don't. I thought none of that. I just thought, oh, smooth move, man, smooth. When Celeste pulls back, she lingers close. I don't move either. That is probably a bad sign. Bianca's phone is still up, but her smirk is completely gone. Her video doesn't show Adrian winning at all. It shows a man who demanded proof and got destroyed by the answer. Chloe just watches, looking absolutely devastated. There was no fake worry or sweet sadness, just pure shock. Then a wave of ugly, visible jealousy hit so hard that even Mason noticed. He looked at Chloe, then me, then Celeste. Slow realization hit his face. Chloe had not looked at him even once during that kiss. A different kind of punishment. Adrian took a step back, looking offended by the very proof he demanded. He hissed that I did that just to humiliate him. Celeste kept her hand on my lapel for one extra heartbeat before letting go. Actually, she replied, you handled that yourself. A soft murmur rippled through the lobby, not laughter, but pure recognition. Nobody was watching Celeste explain herself anymore. Instead, everyone watched Adrian completely unravel. Bianca quickly tried to salvage the situation, arguing that a forced kiss does not make a real engagement. True, I answered, but asking for one reveals exactly what kind of person wanted proof. Bianca's fake smile completely froze. Suddenly, Chloe stepped forward, calling my name. Mason grabbed her wrist, and this time she did not pull away. Not because she wanted him, but because she completely forgot he existed until his fingers touched her skin. Honestly, that was even worse. Chloe choked out that I was going to marry her yesterday. I just stared. For a brief second, I saw our old life, cheap dates, long bus rides, sweet messages, her head resting on my shoulder in that old photo people used to mock me. But then I remembered her standing outside my apartment with no bags, Mason's hand on her waist. Yesterday, I muttered, I still believed you cared. Chloe flinched. Mason squeezed her wrist tighter while Adrian let out a bitter laugh, mocking us for finding such dramatic speeches to match our act. The woman in silver just stared at him. She told him to stop. Completely unexpected, Adrian turned. Leaning against the elevator wall with her arms crossed, she stopped trying to blend in. She accused him of lying to her and deeply humiliating Celeste. Now you are mad because she kissed another man after you literally demanded proof. That strike landed perfectly clean. Adrian stared in shock, but she just lifted her chin. I said stop, she repeated. Security stepped forward immediately. She firmly told Mr. Voss that he was no longer allowed near Miss Whitmore or the royal wing without an escort. Adrian glared at Celeste, asking if she was letting her assistant ban him. No, Celeste said. I am just letting her say it politely. Beautiful, yet absolutely terrifying. Adrian glared at me with pure, bruised ego, warning me this was not over. How original. Bad guys really need to workshop better exit lines. I told him he had said enough tonight and should probably go rest. A woman by the lounge burst out laughing, immediately covering her mouth. Too late, because Adrian definitely heard it. The security guards closed in. Every phone was pointed directly at him now, recording the woman, the discarded jacket, and his humiliated face. The entire narrative had shifted. For once in her life, Bianca could not spin this story her way. Adrian spun around, marching toward the lobby exit with a guard right beside him. No dramatic scene, just handled carefully. Rich enough to get polite treatment, but exposed enough to hate every second. The woman in silver offered a quiet apology to Celeste. In return, Celeste showed her absolutely no warmth, but no cruelty either. Celeste warned her to be more careful with men who call women complicated. The lady nodded, left Adrian's jacket behind, and walked out completely alone. Good for her, right? But I had my own mess to survive. Right then, Natalie's phone buzzed as she checked it. She whispered that the video was spreading fast. Bianca's friend posted one angle, but other guests had theirs. A wild new headline popped up instantly. It read, Celeste Whitmore kisses secret fiancé after confronting cheating ex. The comment section was exploding with people wondering who Ethan Carter was while roasting the ex. Everyone was asking if this was actually her real fiancé. This was no longer some hallway rumor, but a massive public story with my face front and center. My face, my full name, and my lips putting on a far better performance than my resume ever had. I joked that at least my first viral moment featured great tailoring. Natalie did not laugh. Celeste glanced at the video once before turning her gaze to me. That stare was way more dangerous than the 2-second kiss because it was full of heavy questions. She stepped closer, telling me to come upstairs with her. My knees went weak, and I nervously asked if she meant her room. The exact room I was supposed to enter last night. Royal Wing, room 1208. The room she missed. Behind us, Chloe whispered my name, but I did not turn. That was a first. Celeste definitely noticed, and so did Mason. The golden elevator doors slid open like a royal invitation. Somewhere upstairs, room 1208 was waiting for us. Her open hand remained extended, steady and inviting. The entire lobby stared as my phone vibrated in my pocket, signaling that the viral clip was spreading like wildfire. The kiss was going viral, and everything was moving way too fast. Yet, her open hand remained right there. For the second time in 24 hours, room 1208 became the most dangerous spot in Hawaii. She asked me to come upstairs after kissing me in public. It sounded so romantic, but you already know half these people had their phones out. The golden elevator stood open, inviting another beautifully lit, life-ruining mistake. Celeste held out her hand, patiently waiting. Behind us, the crowd in the lobby stared as if they had completely forgotten how to blink. Bianca still kept her phone aimed at us from the stairs. Meanwhile, Chloe stood down the corridor, her hand pressed tightly against her chest. Mason stood right next to her, but his eyes were completely focused on Chloe now. Perfect. Let him enjoy the view from his emotional trash can. Natalie stood by the doors clutching her phone, already looking like she was expecting the next major crisis. Langford watched in silence. Still, Celeste kept her hand open. Then Chloe called out my name in that soft, familiar voice. It used to make me look back instantly. This time, I kept facing forward. It was not a heroic move. Honestly, my neck just finally remembered it had other options. I stepped into the lift with Celeste. As the doors started to shut, Chloe desperately stepped forward. The security guard shifted, and Mason grabbed her wrist once more. This time, Chloe just stared at his hand, as if she had completely forgotten he was even attached to it. The elevator doors finally shut on his face. Honestly, I wanted to frame that look petty, but incredibly healing. We headed up with Natalie and a quiet guard. Good, romance is way less dangerous when there are witnesses around. Or maybe not. Natalie checked her phone. The viral clip already has 3 different angles. 3 viewpoints. Bianca's friend, some random guest, and the front desk clerk. Fantastic. My little mistake is getting better coverage than a national election. The guard stared straight ahead, looking like a man fighting to keep his job. Meanwhile, Celeste ignored her phone entirely. Her eyes were locked on the closing doors. Her fingers looked relaxed now, but the crinkle on her sleeve showed how tense she really was. That dramatic kiss definitely did not calm her down. It just shifted the danger to a new level. Natalie started reading the comments, cheating ex exposed, and billionaire CEO kisses her secret fiancé. Ethan Carter kisses Celeste Whitmore after ex showdown. Seeing my name beside hers still felt completely wrong. Like cheap discount luggage next to a private jet. Natalie then added that some comments claim I kissed her for money. Perfect. Glad capitalism joined the party. Celeste glanced over. Do not read those. I told her I was not, but Natalie was basically narrating my public execution. Natalie offered to stop. I told her to keep going because I liked knowing which part of my dignity was burning. Celeste turned to me. Ethan. My name on her lips? Huge problem. Looking away first seemed smart. Apparently, I can survive massive public shame, but elevator eye contact is my limit. Sorry, I said. Do not apologize for panicking, she replied. Her words actually helped, which kind of annoyed me. The elevator chimed and opened onto the royal wing. This place was a whole different universe compared to mine. My wing had cheap carpet and wallpaper that had long surrendered to disappointment. This gorgeous royal wing had marble floors, rich dark wood, soft lighting, and a private hallway smelling like fresh flowers, money, and old family inheritance. A brass plate read room 1208. Talk about an absolute near miss right here. If she had entered this room, we would have avoided my bed, the rose petals, Adrian's drama, and that viral kiss currently spreading faster than my self-respect can run. Knowing my usual luck, some other disaster would have crawled out of the minibar anyway. Celeste stopped at the door, hesitating for the first time. It was a tiny hesitation, but I was getting quite good at reading her small signals. Natalie noticed too, and offered to stay out in the hall. Natalie told us we had 3 minutes away from the cameras, but warned us not to make any more reckless decisions that she would have to fix. I asked if that was how rich friends normally talked. Natalie said no. Fair enough. Celeste opened the door. This was not a normal hotel room. It was an absolute crime against standard pricing, complete with a massive living area and stunning floor-to-ceiling windows. Outside, the dark silver ocean stretched forever. Inside sat a pristine sofa, fresh fruit, and exotic flowers that looked far too expensive to ever wilt. No tacky rose petals, no weird towel swans, and no fake chocolate signs. Just pure, expensive, elegant, and perfectly controlled space. I walked in. "So this is your actual room," she nodded, asking if I enjoyed the towel swans in mine. Joking that one of them judged me, she almost smiled. But looking toward the bedroom, her expression faded. The entire room went silent. No loud phones, no hotel gossip, no Adrian faking injury, and no Chloe acting like she still had a claim on me. Just Celeste and me in the exact room she missed because of a wrong hallway turn, a duplicate room number, and one broken suitcase strap. She walked over to the glass. She whispered that she should have come here instead. She should have called Natalie, left the restaurant, and avoided getting drunk enough to walk into my wing. Her voice was totally calm, which made it feel even worse. This was the sound of a powerful woman listing her own errors before her enemies could use them against her. Shoving my hands in my pockets, I joked that I should have checked my door lock instead of trusting cheap luggage with our absolute security. And just like that, we get a rare, real laugh out of her. Man, that felt good. Celeste stared down at her hand, quietly stating that the kiss was not for him. My brain instantly short-circuited. No warning, just a direct hit. I know, I managed. She asked if I really did. I wanted to sound confident, like a strong guy who was not currently going viral for kissing a famous billionaire. Instead, I admitted I was trying to understand. She crossed her arms, softer now, saying she asked for the kiss without actually asking. I pointed out that she waited, which was different. She agreed, noting that waiting was not ordering. Her eyes locked on mine. "Does that matter to you?" Honestly, it mattered a lot. Adrian demanded things, Bianca set traps, Chloe stabbed with sweet words, and Mason judged me. But Celeste? She actually waited. That small detail hit me harder than the actual kiss, which was pretty rude considering how hard the kiss worked. Celeste looked away. She was sorry. My jaw dropped. Celeste Whitmore apologizing twice in a single afternoon felt like an omen that this entire luxury resort was about to sink. For the record, I joked, if I hated the kiss, my face made some very confusing choices. She looked up and smiled, a tired, real smile that hit me deep. Completely unfair. Someone needs to ban smiles like that. Right then, her phone buzzed. Naturally, my peace never lasts longer than a typical delivery. Celeste checked the screen and went rigid. She showed me the video, paused on the absolute worst frame. It was terrifying because it looked totally genuine. Her hand was clutching my jacket, my face tilted down, with Adrian looking furious in the background. Chloe stood nearby, looking like someone stole her favorite toy. The caption claimed Celeste kisses Ethan after her ex demands proof. Another repost had an even nastier title. Heartbroken ex-boyfriend becomes the billionaire CEO's newest toy. I stared at the screen. Celeste lowered her device. "Do not," she warned. "Do not what?" "Do not believe the worst titles just because they feel familiar." That hit a painful, fresh bruise. I sighed. Celeste says my room is pretty good at making people say uncomfortable things. I tell her it is a suite. Of course it is. Then, a sharp knock hits the door. Natalie walks in with her tablet and my next big headache. She says my luggage is still stuck in honeymoon wing 1208. I already knew that, but hearing it out loud makes my stomach drop. My clothes, my charger, and that cheap little ring box holding the ring I bought for Chloe. A tiny black coffin for my ruined future. Celeste sees my face shift, and Natalie catches it too. Natalie asks what is in there. I hesitate. Celeste answers for me, the ring. Natalie shuts her eyes in sheer frustration. In my defense, I tell her I did not exactly plan for a fake engagement audit. Natalie warns us that Bianca already restarted the online ring thread. She shows us the post. No photo, just incredibly toxic words. Bianca wrote how interesting it is that everyone saw the kiss, but nobody has seen the ring. The comments are moving crazy fast, demanding to know if I still have Chloe's ring. If they find it, our fake engagement is dead. My mouth goes dry. Natalie tells me we have to move that luggage right now before anyone gets close to that room. Right then, my phone buzzes. A message from Chloe says she knows I still have it. The room goes dead quiet. Celeste sees the text. She asks if Chloe knows where the suite is. She has the whole itinerary. The painful truth hangs heavily between us. Chloe has it because I foolishly gave it to her when I thought Hawaii was our actual future. She sent it to Mason, who copied the entire trip and upgraded every single part of it. Now that itinerary will lead Chloe straight to the suite, where my old proposal ring is still hidden. And let's be real, she knows me too well. She knows I always hold on to pain way longer than I should. Romance is officially a security breach. Natalie yells for security, demanding honeymoon wing 1208 be locked down. No staff allowed inside. Keep guests far away from the door. A guard nods and rushes out. Natalie tells me they are coming with me. Why? I have the key, and Celeste has the scandal. Natalie has a massive migraine. Everyone contributes. I almost smile. Almost. The ride down is way too short. The doors open to familiar carpet, wallpaper, and air smelling like fake ocean breeze and incredibly poor life choices. Home, at least for now. Honeymoon wing 1208 is right ahead. 2 security guards are already blocking the entrance. And there is Chloe, standing 6 feet away, kept back by force. Judging by the guard's tense face, she beat them there by seconds. Of course she did. And Mason is lurking right behind her. Further down, Bianca and a friend pretend to admire a framed waterfall picture. Bianca holds her phone low, recording secretly. Even worse, she is acting polite. Her friend is half hiding another phone near her purse. Natalie marches right up to Chloe. Chloe says this is a guest hallway. Natalie fires back that the lobby was too, where she was told to stop ruining lives. Chloe ignores her and looks at me. Ethan, she says. It feels almost private, but nothing is. She just wants to talk. I tell her she always says that before making things worse. She argues I never listen. I fire back that I finally am listening. That stops her cold. Behind her, Mason shifts, looking totally exhausted. It is that look a guy gets when the woman he stole keeps staring at the man she abandoned. Chloe grips her phone tighter, begging me not to let Celeste wear that ring. Celeste's expression turns pretty cold. She notes Chloe said her, not Celeste, nor Miss Whitmore. Chloe isn't protecting me at all. She is just guarding her final claim over me. I swipe my keycard. Green light flashes, then a click. The suite is exactly as painful as I remember. Rose petals, towel swans, and that incredibly rude ocean view. The chocolate welcome sign is gone because I ate it. Honestly, it was probably the only mature decision I made in here. Celeste steps inside behind me. Her gaze sweeps over the bed, the scattered petals, and my cheap suitcase near the door, the real enemy here. I point at it, joking that it is the villain. Celeste nods solemnly, saying she believes me. It almost breaks my composure. Meanwhile, Natalie holds the door cracked open because security is outside and Bianca is still lurking. I walk over to the suitcase near the closet. Celeste stays by the entrance, giving me space. Honestly, that makes it worse. If she ordered me around, I could at least feel annoyed. If she grabbed the suitcase, I could act defensive. Instead, she respects my pain like it is a real wound. Rude. I unzip the bag, and my clothes shift aside. A rolled-up shirt, my charger, beach shoes packed with a ruined proposal. Then I reach for the inner pocket. My fingers freeze. I pull out the tiny black velvet box. It is cheaper than anything in Celeste's actual wardrobe, yet it is still the most expensive thing I have ever bought. Outside, the hallway falls silent. Bianca raises her phone. Natalie demands she lower it. Bianca smiles, saying she isn't filming. Natalie snaps that she can lower it easily then. Bianca lowers it halfway, but her friend keeps her phone raised. I stare at the box, and honestly, the memories just flood right back. I see Chloe standing outside my apartment. Soft voice, no bags. Mason's hand on her waist. Then I remember Celeste telling me to sit down in the lobby. I tighten my grip on the box. Chloe whispers that I kept it. I walk to the doorway, letting her see it. Yes. Her eyes tear up as she asks why. That question almost makes me laugh. She actually thinks my reasons still belong to her. I tell her I do not know. Maybe tossing it felt like admitting my love was totally worthless. Or maybe I just needed proof that I actually meant it. Or maybe I was an idiot who had extra suitcase space. I tell her she was not an idiot, but she left me with 2 tickets, no real explanation, and my bully laughing at the ring. Do not rewrite history just because today is uncomfortable. She flinches. Useful. Chloe looks at Celeste and insists I cannot give that ring to her. The entire hallway goes completely silent. Finally, the raw truth without any sugarcoating. She says cannot, as if she still gets a vote. I stare at the box and state that I was not planning to. Chloe blinks, Celeste looks at me. I turn toward her and hold out the box. I am not offering it, just showing her. I tell her this is not hers. Celeste looks at the box, then at me. She says she knows, no hesitation, no bruised pride. She steps closer, gently pressing 2 fingers against my wrist to lower my hand. Celeste explains she would never wear another woman's ring. And she won't ask me to turn my painful past into proof for her. The hallway erupts. Whispers break out, phones lower, and Mason stares. Bianca's smirk fades fast because this drama refuses to play out how she wanted. My throat tightens up. Chloe looks like she has just been hard slapped. Not because Celeste insulted her, but because Celeste understood the value of that ring better than she ever did. For years, Chloe owned my weaknesses and exploited them like she owned me. Celeste had only known me for 1 day, but treated my wound like it actually mattered. Bianca recovered first, calling my actions pretty noble. She scoffed, pointing out that it still didn't explain why I was holding another woman's ring while calling myself your fiancé. That made Celeste turn her head. Celeste snapped back that I wasn't holding another woman's ring, but holding my past. For a second, Bianca was completely speechless. Then, the phones and tablets started buzzing. My stomach instantly dropped as Natalie stared at her screen and went totally stiff. She turned the tablet to show me a new photo was already online. It was me outside Suite 1208, holding a black box with Celeste beside me, and Chloe blurred in the background. The caption called me out for carrying my ex's ring. Underneath, the comments were blowing up, calling me a fake fiancé who kept his ex's ring. They even claimed Celeste was just using broken men. An absolute chill hit my chest. Bianca lowered her phone, pretending she was completely innocent. Natalie's eyes instantly darted over to Bianca's friend, knowing she was the culprit. The friend hid her phone way too late. Celeste's face went cold, and Chloe looked from the post straight to me. For once, Chloe looked absolutely terrified of this mess she'd helped make. I squeezed that velvet ring box tight in my hand. Celeste didn't stand in front of me, she stood right beside me. Taking a quick call, Natalie listened for 3 seconds before delivering the news. Langford wanted us downstairs. Bianca smirked with pure satisfaction. I stared down at the ring box in my hand, thinking about my lost past, this new lie, and the enemies trying to ruin both. I slipped the box into my jacket. When Natalie offered to handle it, I just looked at the elevator and told her no, speaking with a confidence I didn't actually feel. No more letting others explain my own pain. Celeste looked over, and something in her expression shifted. Stepping aside, Natalie watched as I walked down the hall to the elevator with the ring in my pocket, ready to face the truth that was finally catching up to me. I fully expected Langford to be waiting downstairs to tear me apart. Celeste did, too. But when the doors swung open, Celeste suddenly froze so fast I almost crashed into her. She whispered the word grandfather in a tiny, shocked voice I had never heard from her before. For a brief moment, the untouchable boss vanished, replaced by a vulnerable young woman. That was my first warning. The second warning was Natalie's reaction. Natalie, who usually treated massive disasters like minor calendar notifications, went totally rigid. The third warning sign was Langford. Langford stood like a soldier receiving orders from a supreme commander. Bianca's smug smile began to fade, and Mason's face went completely blank. Chloe shifted her gaze from me to the elderly man standing by the table. Right then, I realized this grandfather was easily the most terrifying person in the entire building. Natalie had quickly gathered everyone into a secured lounge under heavy guard. Not to give those liars privacy, but because Chairman Whitmore wanted every single culprit in one spot. I later learned the video and photo had reached his office before we even stepped into the elevator. Now look at this, Celeste was actually so shocked she forgot she basically ruled the entire room. Her grandfather was a lean, silver-haired man in a dark suit, casually leaning his hand on a polished cane. He didn't actually need that cane, but he certainly used it for intimidation. His sharp eyes could force any arrogant billionaire to stop lying instantly, just to survive. Yet the instant he spotted Celeste, his face softened. The entire room had been holding its breath. He looked at her like everyone else was just background noise, calling her his princess. Celeste squeezed her eyes shut as her ears turned a bright pink. I had watched this woman stare down Bianca, Langford, and a whole crowd of cameras without flinching for a single second. But this one elder calling her princess made her want to disappear into the nearest plant. She begged him to stop, but he just asked if investors changed who she was. Langford stared at the table, while Natalie looked at her tablet as if it were a sacred text. I stared blankly ahead because laughing meant instant death. Celeste tried to stay composed, but she looked like she was desperately praying for a trapdoor to open up. She quietly reminded him that she ran a global empire. He just smiled, saying he was proud but she was still his princess. I stared at the ceiling for help. Nobody dared to make a sound. He gently touched her cheek with 2 fingers, asking if she'd even eaten. Celeste blushed a much deeper red. She dodged the question, but he demanded the truth. When she lied, he turned to Natalie. Natalie immediately confessed that Celeste only had 3 bites of fish and some water. Labeling Natalie a useful snitch, the chairman sighed while Celeste glared at her, promising silent revenge. He lamented that his princess was fighting off scandals and useless men but neglecting dinner. She claimed she was busy, but he knew she was just deeply upset. It was a private family moment, the kind where outsiders feel like they shouldn't even be breathing. Celeste was the first to look away. His eyes shifted right past her and locked onto me. Talk about a total vibe shift. All warmth vanished as he slowly sized me up. I was standing there in a messy suit, carrying a hidden ring box and a very public kiss. He pointed, calling me out, making me point to myself in shock. Celeste pinched her brow, introducing me as Ethan. Her grandfather raised an eyebrow and muttered that I talk. Natalie whispered that I talk too much. He confirmed my name, calling me the guy from the suite who kissed his princess. I admitted the sweet part was true but highly unfortunate. My mouth moved before my brain could stop it. I blurted out that technically, she kissed me. Instantly, the entire room went dead silent. Natalie covered her face while Langford looked away. Mason stood jaw-dropped, and Bianca actually started smirking again. Chloe looked completely devastated by my words. Celeste slowly turned to look at me, pleading with me to please stop helping her. Her grandfather just stared. For a terrifying second, I thought he'd banish me from the island. But then, a corner of his mouth twitched into a smile. He says a man is only honest when terrified. When Celeste looks at me, I correct myself. I am actually managing my sheer terror with excellent tailoring. This makes her grandfather let out a brief sound, almost a laugh, before it vanishes completely. He demands my name, Ethan Carter, and asks about my family. Normal, definitely not rich. When asked about my work, I hesitate. Saying unemployed sounds pathetic, while claiming to be between jobs feels incredibly try-hard. Saying broke is honest but not impressive. I choose what today actually taught me. I am currently standing beside your granddaughter and trying not to make her life worse. Celeste looks over, and Chairman Whitmore warns that is not a profession. Honestly, it has been far more demanding than any job interview I have ever had. Natalie lets out a tiny noise. Could be pain, or maybe approval. With her, those reactions are practically cousins. The old man points to the table, telling us to sit. I drop down, and Celeste joins me. Chloe glares at the small space between our chairs, while Mason watches her reaction. Bianca quietly moves her phone. Then, Chairman Whitmore spots Celeste's hand resting right next to mine. She pulls her hand back, but he already saw. Calling her his princess, he ignores her protests and asks point blank if she likes this boy. The entire room freezes. I forget how to breathe. Celeste stares right at him, insisting that is not the issue. But someone cuts in, pointing out she kissed me in a lobby. That is complicated. He glances at me, looking completely overwhelmed. I admit it is fair, earning a warning glare from Celeste as I raise my hands. Enough. His cane taps once against the floor. The funny grandfather is gone, replaced by the ruthless Chairman Whitmore. He looks directly at Langford. He asks why they were called down. Langford's voice stays smooth, but cautious. He claims the photo of the ring changes the entire situation. His silence says yes, though he clearly wishes it did not sound so foolish out loud. Bianca instantly takes the opening, claiming nobody wants to hurt Celeste. She says they only want to know if I am truly with Celeste or still emotionally tied to Chloe. She lays out this fake concern like poisoned dessert. Chairman Whitmore turns to her, asking if she is Miss Ashford. Bianca smiles and introduces herself. He asks if she took that first photo. Her smile holds as she claims she only took a picture while others spread rumors. He stares in silence, then says she smiles like she sells poison in gift wrap. This is pure gold. I am not going to lie. The room goes dead silent while I stare at the table to avoid laughing. I survived too much to die of joy. Bianca's face remains perfect, but her eyes flash with malice. She quickly masks it, saying she understands he is protective. He simply replies yes. No shame, no apologies. He turns to Chloe, asking about her. Chloe straightens up as if acting kind might save her. Bad move. Kindness was not invited tonight. She claims she only wanted to help me. Mason's jaw tightens, tired of that excuse. Chairman Whitmore looks at her phone on the table. He asks if helping meant giving my name to the woman hunting me. Chloe claims she was scared, but he counters, asking if exposing my vulnerability was helpful. Did she help by following me to my room? Crying over a ring she abandoned? Dead silence from Chloe. The old man leans heavily on his cane. He points out she threw me away yesterday, but now that another woman stands beside me, she suddenly remembers my value. Chloe visibly flinches. Mason looks down. He is forced to watch the woman he chose get completely roasted by a powerful man who met her just 5 minutes ago. Unbelievable. The chairman asks Mason if he is the upgrade. Mason stiffens, but gets shut down. Silence suits him better. I choke back a laugh. Natalie avoids looking at me, but I can feel her icy disapproval radiating across the table. Chairman Whitmore's gaze drops to the badge pinned to Mason's chest. Seeing the Whitmore Global name, Mason nervously confirms it. The chairman accuses him of bringing an uninvited guest, forcing Mason to admit his poor judgment. The chairman points out how Mason mocked my proposal yesterday. Mason glances at me and looks away. The chairman looks completely bored. And check this out, he orders Mason to hand his badge to Miss Vale. Mason completely freezes as the reality of his downfall finally hits him. Tonight, he drops it on the table like some cheap borrowed status. The plastic clinks against the wood. No grand speech, no dramatic explosion, just pure humiliation. Perfect. Natalie quietly picks up the badge. Chloe stares at it, then looks at Mason. For once, she sees the man she chose stripped of his high-paying job, fancy watch, and shiny corporate title. He suddenly looks incredibly small right in front of us. Honestly, I enjoyed watching that collapse way more than I should. But Bianca recovers first, demanding answers about my ring. It is her final, desperate move. My velvet box suddenly feels heavier inside my jacket. The chairman asks if it is true. I simply nod. Tension shifts instantly. Chloe looks up, while Bianca's vicious smile sharpens. Langford watches me as if my answer decides tomorrow's headlines. The chairman asks if I still carry the ring bought for Chloe, even after kissing Celeste. My throat tightens as I admit it is true. Celeste turns to look at me. She is not hurt, just listening, which is somehow harder. I reach in and pull out the black box, keeping it firmly closed this time. Everyone here has already seen enough of my grief sparkling under cheap restaurant lights. I place it on the table. It looks so tiny on the polished wood, too small to cause this much damage. Home at last. Chloe stares at it as if it finally returned to her. That actually makes my next words much easier to say. I speak quietly. I tell them this ring was never proof that Chloe loved me. It was only proof that I was naive enough to believe she did. Looking right at her, I admit I bought that ring for the woman I thought she was, not the selfish person standing here tonight. Her eyes fill with tears. The words land clean. No shouting, no scene. Just the brutal truth laid bare right where she can no longer try to soften or spin it. She desperately whispers my name, but I shut her down. It feels incredibly liberating, yet terrifying. She does not get to use the naive version of me to look kind anymore. The final crack. Mason stares at Chloe, finally seeing the ugly truth about her that I was once too blind to admit. She never really wanted all of me, just access to the parts she could control. Chloe wanted to walk away, but still keep a key to the softest corner of my heart. That door was slamming shut. Bianca turned straight to Celeste and asked if he is your fiancé. Where is your ring? Celeste reached right across the table, grabbed the velvet jewelry box, and pushed it back to my side, refusing to keep it near her. She declared that the ring belonged entirely to my past. She did not need another woman's leftover ring to prove who belonged by her side. Instantly, the room went dead silent as Chloe flinched. Langford stared at Celeste in shock as she quietly added that she would never ask me to turn a painful scar into jewelry just to save her reputation. Look at how the whole vibe shifts. Everyone is whispering, realizing that ring is not proof I belong to Chloe, but proof of what she threw away. It was proof Chloe lost a guy who truly loved her. Celeste rejecting the ring totally destroyed Bianca's desperate accusations. If Celeste was just using me, keeping that ring would have been the perfect, easy prop for a headline. But she rejected it right in front of the high society elite. Chairman Whitmore locked eyes with me and started listing my flaws, calling me flat-out broke, pointing out I am totally out of her league, and saying I ramble. He added that I held onto a ring for an unworthy woman. I just nodded, simple as that. Suddenly accused of kissing his princess on camera, Celeste warned me to stay quiet, and I complied. The old man watched us closely as Celeste's cheeks turned a very distinct, beautiful shade of pink. If I made it out alive, I vowed to remember that look forever, but never speak of it. Finally, the patriarch grunted that he still disliked me. He kept going, saying I have awful timing, baggage in my pockets, and a stupid hope that technical details will protect me from his absolute wrath. I opened my mouth. Celeste glared. I shut it. Progress, right? That actually made her grandfather smirk. Then came the massive twist. He admitted that even if he hates me, his precious princess clearly feels differently. Celeste froze completely. Her blush deepened intensely as her grandfather asked if he was wrong, For once, the unbeatable female CEO had absolutely no comeback and just looked away. That silent reaction spoke volumes, completely breaking my brain. Chloe watched this happen, her expression shifting from bitter jealousy to a devastating sense of permanent loss. Celeste was standing right next to me, refusing to deny her grandfather's teasing claims. Mason caught the look on Chloe's face, realizing he lost. And that was his ultimate punishment. He stole my girl just to feel superior, but now he had to watch her mourn the very man she threw away. Chloe whispered Mason's name, no eye contact. He just swallowed hard in silence. I quietly filed that in my petty department. Chairman Whitmore turned to Bianca, who tried to fake a smile. He coldly announced she was permanently banned from ever attending another Whitmore family function. Her smug face went dead pale. In her elite world, losing connection is social death. Private invites and exclusive circles were her main weapons, and now her access was completely revoked. He destroyed her standing right in front of everyone. She tried to speak, but he cut her off, executing a flawless social murder with perfect manners. Natalie stared down at her tablet, likely enjoying the drama. Her stoic face only ever showed work or absolute emergencies. The chairman told Chloe to leave me alone, prompting her to cry that she truly loved me once. Hearing that actually felt weirdly heavy. Chloe was not a pure evil villain, and maybe a small part of her really did care back then. But she wanted comfort when it was easy, and power when love became too expensive. Tonight, that selfish double standard finally ruined her. The chairman snapped that she should have protected me before Celeste had to, making Chloe look at me desperately. She had no witty excuses left, just pure panic as she softly begged if we could speak after this. Her very last lifeline. For a brief second, the old, naive Ethan wanted to give her closure and believe our 3 years together actually meant something. Then I felt that ring box under my hand. No, I said, making her face completely break. And honestly, you can feel how much that hurts. For years, I wanted to be her shield, but now, refusing her is just self-defense against the knife she was holding. Chloe sobbed into her hands while Mason stood up awkwardly, not to defend her, but because he literally had nowhere else to hide. Natalie signaled security to escort them out. Mason tried to grab Chloe, but her eyes remained completely glued to me. Talk about a pathetic ending. The woman he stole refused to even look at him while being thrown out. He shuffled out first in total shame. Chloe trailed behind him, pausing at the exit for a brief second. I braced for her to scream my name, but she stayed quiet. Good. Once security cleared them out, Bianca sat in tense silence, trying to look poised. But you cannot fake perfection once the cracks already showed. Langford quickly spoke up, claiming this drama does not erase their board concerns. The chairman countered that it definitely proves my true character. Glancing between us and the ring box, the rival board member argued they will still demand why I am even involved here. Under her grandfather's heavy stare, she stood her ground, showing her classic fierce attitude, and adding that I actually chose to stay. She explained that I could have run when things got messy, or exposed her fake engagement lie, or even used the old ring to hurt everyone. Yet, I did none of that. Locking eyes with me, her gaze absolutely ruined my focus while Natalie dryly agreed that my timing is indeed pretty terrible. The chairman agreed, but Celeste firmly closed the debate by stating I am absolutely not using her. And are you using him? That was the clean, raw question Bianca had been trying to poison all night. Celeste stayed silent for a moment. Good. An instant answer would have sounded way too rehearsed. She looked at the ring box, at me, and then at her grandfather. I was, she admitted. Honesty felt pretty brutal, but apparently, it was necessary. At first, she explained, she only used our story because it was the single thing stopping Bianca's vicious rumors from completely destroying both of our lives. She called it strategy, damage control, a temporary act. My hand gripped the edge of the table. Then, her tone softened by just 1 degree. But then he kept standing by me when walking away would have been so much easier. That was not damage control. It felt dangerously honest. I looked down because eye contact was starting to feel financially irresponsible. Chairman Whitmore stared at us. His harsh face stayed cold but lost some of its anger, which somehow made him way more terrifying. He tapped his cane. Then this is not finished here. A terribly ominous sentence. Celeste locked eyes with him. Grandfather, if this man is standing by my granddaughter, I refuse to judge him based on gossip vids and hallway drama, he declared, turning to me. You are coming to New York. Immediately, all the blood drained right out of my body. New York? I had a return flight, but he told me to change it. With what cash, though? Under his icy stare, I instantly regretted speaking. Celeste quietly called out to him. She sounded embarrassed but protective, a total princess and executive. You cannot just summon people like furniture, she told him. He is not a chair, That is not the point, she argued, but the old man fired back, he kissed my princess. So he is the point now. Celeste covered her burning face, but her blush totally betrayed her. Chairman Whitmore looked pretty damn satisfied with himself. Yep, I was absolutely going to die in New York, not from stressful business, but from pure family embarrassment. He looked at me. If you are greedy or weak, New York will expose you, he warned. Super comforting. Real nice, but if you are actually worthy of my granddaughter, New York will show that too. Absolute silence. The tension spikes when she drops her hand. She stared at her grandfather, torn between arguing or crawling under the table. Probably both. When I caught her eye, she looked away way too slow. Dangerous. Pretty dangerous. Natalie's tablet buzzed, then Langford's phone. Apparently, emotional family drama gets instant push notifications. What now? I muttered as she checked the screen. I sounded exhausted. She spun the tablet around, displaying a message about the Whitmore board requesting an urgent morning call regarding Celeste and myself. My name again. It felt like my identity was some contagious virus spreading across these luxury screens. Langford glanced at the chairman. The board was moving incredibly fast. Great. Or was it? Men with canes and scary granddaughters probably eat board pressure for breakfast. The chairman stared right back at me. I still do not like you, he stated. Yes, sir, I replied, but I will inspect you properly. That sounded way too medical. Ethan, Celeste warned. Sorry, I muttered. New York. No resort cameras, no gossip vids, and no crying exes near doorways. Just you, my family, and elites who will not be impressed by that nice suit Natalie bought you. I looked down. Honestly, it was a pretty great suit, doing almost all the heavy lifting here. Harsh but fair. Celeste let out a quiet, single-breath laugh. It was gone instantly, but the entire room caught it. Her grandfather stared at her like that single laugh solved something far more crucial than corporate investor worries. Turning away, he ordered Natalie to hold my flight. Without a second of hesitation, she gave a firm, understood. I glanced at her. You too? Welcome to next level escalation. Bianca stood up, asking if she was excused. The chairman did not even look at her. You were excused the second you picked up that phone, he retorted. No snappy comeback followed. For once, the woman with perfect timing totally missed her cue, walking out defeated. Straighter than Mason, slower than Chloe. Definitely not winning. Langford lingered in his chair. Tomorrow is going to be pretty complicated. He quietly warned Celeste. Tonight already was, she countered. He almost smiled at that. Fair enough. With that, he exited too, leaving only Celeste, her grandfather, Natalie, and me in the room. The ring box sat right in front of me, so I picked it up. Not for Chloe, and not because Celeste needed it. Because it was mine. My mistake. My heartbreak. My absolute proof. Maybe, when I am finally ready, it will be my refund. Slipping it into my jacket, I noticed Celeste watching me with zero judgment or expectations. Her grandfather watched us closely. He sighed like the entire universe had disappointed him. My princess has some pretty terrible taste in men, he grumbled. Grandfather, she pleaded. He looked toward the door where Adrian had been dragged out, then where Mason and Chloe left, then back to me. Improving slightly, I pointed at myself. Was that about me? Do not make me regret this, he warned. Yes, sir, I quickly replied. Celeste looked down, but I caught her genuine, embarrassed smile before it vanished. That smile was easily more dangerous than the entire board. Well, actually, no. The board sounded absolutely terrifying. Suddenly, Natalie's phone buzzed, and she stared right at me. Your flight has been flagged, she announced. My what? Celeste turned to her grandfather, asking if he already did that. He looked offended, claiming he only put a hold. I am old, not slow, he snapped. I stared at him, then Celeste, then Natalie, who kept typing like my life was just some item on her schedule. Once again, that is the running theme of this trip. But watch this. Celeste steps closer. No hand-holding, just standing beside me. After tonight, that says everything. You do not have to come, she murmured. Just like that. An open door. No demands, no fake fiancé scripts. Just a genuine choice. Behind her, the chairman watched, clearly expecting me to fail and fully prepared to enjoy it. Natalie just watched like she knew she would be filing paperwork either way. My phone buzzed. Probably more comments and screenshots. Strangers debating if I was some broke rebound or just a romantic idiot with a decent tailor. For once, I ignored it. I looked at Celeste, the girl who accidentally crashed my ruined honeymoon, called me a nobody, and then spent the whole day showing she actually cared when it mattered. The exact woman whose terrifying grandfather called her princess in front of massive investors, somehow making her look way more powerful, not less. I glanced at the old man, then Natalie, and finally at the closed door where Chloe, Mason, Bianca, and my entire old life had finally gone completely silent. Breathing out, I stated my one condition. The chairman's eyes narrowed, and Celeste looked totally surprised. Natalie stopped typing. Good. A perfect little dramatic pause. I was clearly learning from some bad influences. Nobody calls me the mystery fiancé in New York. Absolute silence. Then Celeste lets out a soft, private laugh. Just enough to break the tension. Chairman Whitmore glares at her, then looks straight at me. He just sighs and says, "We will see." Terrible answer. Somehow, my fake engagement survived Hawaii anyway. It did not survive because our lives became perfect. And not because the others changed. Chloe, Mason, Bianca, Adrian, none of them learned their lesson. You see, it survived because in the middle of this mess, surrounded by fake rings, I finally found my spine. I stopped letting them control my life. Then the chairman turns to the door pack properly. Carter. His princess does not travel with men who look like abandoned luggage. Celeste just whispers his name, completely mortified. Staring down at my borrowed suit, I look at Celeste, then at the formidable old man waiting to drag me into New York like a high-stakes courtroom. And just like that, this fake drama turns into an invitation to survive the most terrifying man in her entire family.